What's going on, everybody? John here with you. Going to be alongside Alec Nava once again for Game 2, Game 3 as well as we get settled here. So for Kris Knoblauch and the Edmonton Oilers, it's Connor McDavid, RNH, Zach Hyman, Matthias Ekholm, Evan Bouchard, Leon Draisaitl, Vander Kane, Dylan Holloway, Darnell Nurse, Cody Ceci, Ryan McLeod, Warren Fogle, Corey Perry, Adam Henrique, Matthias Janmark, Connor Brown, Philip Broberg, Brett Kulak, Stuart Skinner will be the goaltender of record. And for the Florida Panthers, head coached by Paul Maurice, it's Alexander Barkov, Carter Verhaeghe, Sam Reinhart, Gustav Forsling, Aaron Ekblad, Sam Bennett, Matthew Tkachuk, Evan Rodrigues, Nico Mikkola, Brandon Montour, and Tom Lundell, Eetu Luostarinen, Vlad Tarasenko with Kevin Stenlund, Stephen Lorentz, Alec Poso, OEL, Oliver Ekman Larson, Dmitry Kulikov with Sergei Bobrovsky in net. And Alec, it was a gigantic performance for Sergei Bobrovsky, a 32-save shutout, as Florida took a 3-0 victory in Game 1. Problem was that Edmonton did not play badly, and quite frankly, they outplayed the Florida Panthers, who might have played their worst game in the series, but still took a 3-0 lead. How's Game 2 going to go?
So Game 2 may be much the same for Edmonton. They want to keep attacking as Sergei Bobrovsky. He had some good looks with 70 shot attempts, but they were empty-handed all throughout. And they all credit Bobrovsky for a good game, but they had their chances. They were looking to get more, capitalizing them in Game 2. That's their mindset. Keep going at Bobrovsky, but this time you want to make the most of those looks. On the power play, to test that penalty kill, and I know for as good as the Oilers' penalty kill is, the Panthers' PK is equally as good. The power play for the Oilers, second in the playoffs at 35.2% behind the eliminated Colorado Avalanche at 36.7%. So that's going to get a lot every time that they get onto the ice when on the 5-on-4, even on the 5-on-3, should they go there.
So a couple things for me. When you talk about some of those goals against Stuart Skinner with the Barkov backhanded pass to Verhaeghe, the wide open one for Evan Rodrigues that went through the legs of Darnell Nurse. Darnell Nurse sits at a -15. That's the second worst in all playoff history. Only Sam Reinhart's dad had a worse number. It would be interesting if Sam Reinhart could actually put Nurse's plus-minus into that category. That would be interesting. But here was a big thing for me. After NHL Network from Game 1, normally I customarily turn it on, try to get some tendencies and see what they think about the game. Here was an interesting one for Sergei Bobrovsky because Alec and I can tell you this. We saw Bobrovsky fall a little bit, especially in that game, kind of lose an edge, come across the right side as you had that Draisaitl pass, and he was kind of flopping like a fish out of water. The reason why Bobrovsky bends his own blades, and yes, he does his own work, and the sense to be able to get his stick down and glove down low to be able to beat the Edmonton Oilers down in that spot. It's pretty much an impregnable fortress down there. What they did say on the NHL Network side, and what we also saw in that second round against the Boston Bruins, was a tendency to want to lift the shots high. Now, if you don't have the time to do that, you might most likely miss. But that's where 80% of Bobrovsky's goals have been given up high. Florida knows that. Edmonton knows that. We'll see if they can make some adjustments because all those chances on the breakaway were low. You get a chance to see it now, and a good thing ESPN's just showing that graphic, so that's why I brought it to you. That's where they want to aim on Bobrovsky, see if they can make that adjustment.
You fire at the high side, that's Bobrovsky's weakness. If Kris Knoblauch knows that, he wants to get his guys to fire on the high side. 10 goals at the top left corner allowed, 14 at the top right corner. As McDavid is showing him, most of the times in which he has stopped those shots, it was on the low side. He has not given up a lot of goals when the shots were fired on the low side. Those are the free breakaway shots. All of them came on the low side. You're not going to score a lot when you're aiming low. You want to go up high of Bobrovsky. Make that your target, especially for Vincent Desharnais, who slotted back into the lineup in the place of Cody Ceci, was a healthy scratch for the first time in the playoffs.
Interesting. Again, you do the same thing with Darnell Nurse, as you mentioned along the numbers, probably making too much to be scratched. So that's one of the things you have to change. Again, Kris Knoblauch going into it with CC and Nurse, when you split that pair and put them on the second, third line, they did pretty well. When they played together in the second line, didn't work so well. So here is why I manufactured this second game and titled it Mindset. Because when you go into it 3-0 for Florida, yeah, it looks on the outstretch like a dominating victory. And bottom line for Florida, you got the win, and that's what matters. And I said this to Alec going into game one. If Edmonton was able to play their game, kind of dictate, push the pace, I think that they can have a lot of good things to bring into game two. Now, with that said, Mr. Nava, if Edmonton goes out and has the same result, even if they lose 2-1, but let's just say they lose again, playing the same way, those good feelings are going to fly right out the window. Edmonton, they can play the same game they played on a couple nights ago, but they've got to get the result this time. They cannot go down 2-0 to the Florida Panthers.
No, they cannot, especially against the Panthers forecheck, as is mentioned, again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
And the Oilers, they keep pressing, and they played their own game. They didn't get the results that they wanted because they played their own game, and you can argue they were the better of the two between them and the Panthers at 5-on-5. This is the case they're getting snake bit because most of their shots, they were low, and they wanted to fire high this time around. Here in game two, everyone knows this. I think it's maybe the perfect time for Draisaitl, McDavid, everyone, especially Hyman, over the slot. They want to get back onto the board here for game two.
So I know we made our first couple points about Edmonton, but let's talk about the team that won the game. In the sense of, again, you had Verhaeghe and Rodrigues, and that pass from Sam Bennett was absolutely otherworldly. Again, Sam Bennett had a power forward type dream game. And what do I mean by that? 1 assist, 11 hits. That's exactly the type of performance that they want from them. But Alec, can I make this statement? You tell me if you agree. The Florida Panthers played their worst game in this series, and they still won 3-0.
You can argue that they played their worst game in the playoffs right now, and they still won on the game. That's the argument there. The worst game in a win that the Panthers have played is usually not a sustainable thing, but the thing that scares me the most about the Panthers is how they can win in many different ways. Well, I said this about the Rangers in earlier. The Panthers, they can equal that in winning in several different ways. The Panthers, they got badly outplayed in game one. Yeah, they said that their third period was their best one by increasing the pressure on the Oilers to hold on to the 2-0 lead they had before the empty net by Eetu Luostarinen. The Panthers ranking first in the playoffs with a plus 14 goal differential in the third. They want to see that rise in game two, but essentially it was still their worst game in which they have won. They do not want a repeat of game one. I know to talk about Bobrovsky's shutout, but you can't have a repeat of where you get outshot by 14 or 15,
No.
and you escape with a victory. That cannot happen again for Florida.
No, we understand, and I think you said going into this, and I had to agree with you. I wanted to throw as much respect that I could to Stuart Skinner because at some point you lost the goal crease. You come back into a must-win in Game 7 against Vancouver. That takes a big set of brass, you know what, to be able to do that. Well, he did a good job of that. For Sergei Bobrovsky in that game a couple days ago, he became the oldest goaltender at 35 to record a shutout in the opening game. The last one who did that was Roberto Luongo when the Boston Bruins ended up taking the cup over the Canucks. And that's Tyler Seguin was on that team, but Sergei Bobrovsky was a man on a mission. Again, we mentioned going into it, Hyman, RNH, Adam Henrique, RNH, and Adam Henrique were stopped on breakaway chances. Again, low off the back end near the right pad. A turnover 5 by Bobrovsky. Again, maybe his only couple of bad plays were a couple of misplays, trying to handle the puck in behind, and he turns it over. Hyman hits him right in the grill, end up making the save. As Alec mentioned, Florida pretty much outshot 2-1. Played their worst game and still won convincingly. We already mentioned the goals, and we already mentioned what maybe Kris Knoblauch's thoughts were. Again, you can tell and preach to the guys, continue to play that game, and maybe, I know Steve Dangle said this, 9 out of 10, you probably win that one. Now we have to see what happens today because it's going to be very interesting, Alec. If we go into game 2 and Florida still wins, my narrative's changed completely. And you can talk all you want about the next game on Thursday when it switches back to Rogers Place. I know they say Edmonton plays much better at home,
Game 1 was probably the best that we could see them play. We expect Florida to play better, but I don't think there's any guarantees you go into Edmonton and the Oilers steal 2 games.
I don't think so. Because Game 1, that's usually the Oilers letting their foot off the gas pedal usually in Game 1. Game 2, maybe some sort of their bounce back type of game. Like is per usual, on most normal circumstances when the Oilers begin the playoffs in the recent years of the McDavid era. Game 2 against LA in 2022, bounce back. Same case in 2023 against them. Game 2 against Calgary, Western Conference semifinal, bounce back. This year against Vancouver, Game 2, bounce back. I know they won the first game against LA and Dallas, and they lost Game 2, but they went on to win both those series, shutting down the Kings in 5, and then taking on the Stars and manhandling them in 6. The Oilers are ill. I think Game 2 has to be some sort of a capitalization type of game. Not necessarily a bounce back because they did everything possible in Game 1, but you want to right your wrongs as of previously to fix what went wrong in Game 1, which was relatively little, if none.
Right. No, I agree. We've hit all the points in here. I'm glad we were able to jump as soon as we could on the pregame side to kind of hit all those notes. And you're speaking of the bounce back side. Edmonton is 5-1 in this postseason following a loss. So that's a good check mark box. Florida is riding a 4-game win streak currently in the postseason. That's a check mark box for them. We would expect the Florida Panthers to lock things down a little bit better in this second game. I think that's the one thing I can give you for sure. And then we can monitor and see whether or not Florida is going to be able to have that same type of effort again. As we get into the national anthems, I think we went through all of our hockey stuff. I do want to ask you a couple things. Do you want to take the first this time, or do you still want me to lead it off?
You know, we can reverse it this time around.
Okay, so you can take the first, I'll take the second, and then we'll mix it around. We'll keep everything as fair as possible. Give me just a quick synopsis of the minute or whatever. What did you think of yesterday's game in the NBA Finals?
You know, yesterday, the Celtics, they've been shutting off Luka's options. I know Luka Doncic, he's the best player in this series. The problem is the Celtics, you can argue that they have the second, third, fourth, fifth, and even the sixth best players in this series. Kyrie Irving, as of right now, he's playing arguably no higher than the 7th best player in the series. Yeah. Boston is that good all around. Whether it be Jaylen Brown impacting the game on both ends of the floor, Derek White with 2 clutch blocks and a back-to-back 3-pointers, or Jason Tatum dishing out 12 assists to his teammates and helping out his team, proving that it is a team sport. The Celtics, of course, they're getting themselves into a prime position where they're getting themselves closer to banner number 18. And it's because of their defense, in which they have shut down the Mavericks in time. Luka is basically being left on an island, exactly the way that Boston has. I know the talk of Luka has help, and he does. However, his help is being shut down in time, all because of the stifling defense by the Celtics.
Yes. When you can rotate, again, as you said, 6 or 7 different players on that end, Kyrie Irving has got to give more. Simply put, no questions asked. If he doesn't do that, Dallas is in real trouble. I don't care if you swing back home. If he gives those same type of performances, it's going to be done. And Drew Holiday, I love the quotes at the end of it. Again, they always talk about whether you want to be a superstar or whatnot. He goes, this is exactly what Brad Stevens brought me in here to do. And again, I heard some of the stuff from the Dallas side when I mentioned, because they wanted rumors back then, and they got Kyrie Irving, but they wanted Damian Lillard. And I was like, wouldn't you want to have somebody like Drew Holiday, who's a Swiss Army knife? Boy, oh boy, that might have been one of the best games I've ever seen him play.
Yeah, it was. Not only with the team leader in points, but also you get 11 rebounds to go with it, and you're also shutting up your opposition on defense. Kyrie Irving is basically being held helpless all around, whether it be Jaylen Brown or Holiday right on him. Kyrie can basically do nothing.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens again in the Game 3 side. I'm trying to make sure that I can join Alec for that one, but if not, then we'll try to figure out some other one. We do have everything covered in the Stanley Cup Finals, but I do want to get another look at the NBA Finals as we're getting to the finality of the anthems. Alec's going to take the first, I'll take the second, and then we'll split. Again, I think that was the same boy that just predicted in the pregame the 3-0 in the Bobrovsky shutout, the one that's shirtless. He's going to become a legend here at Amerant Bank Arena.
Oh, this kid is already a legend for calling his shot, and he did not miss. He hit the red dot on the Archer's arrow. 3-0 shutout that he predicted, or Panther victory already. This kid went viral on ESPN, and the panel made sure to give him a shout out.
Yeah, he did better than a lot of us who get paid to do these type of things, and that was pretty cool to see. And that's what you love. You get good chance to get seats right near the glass. It's full. It's everything in Sunrise, the Everglades. We talk about Florida, the hotbed of hockey. We'll see what they can do here as Alonzo Mourning is banging the drum. That is awesome.
And 2 days ago, it was Mike McDaniel banging the drum. Alonzo Mourning, 11-year vet with the Miami Heat. He's now retired. His jersey hung up at the Raptors of what used to be American Airlines Arena. Still calling it that, even though it's now known as Kaseya Center. But also, what we missed out was that Ariana Grande, lifelong Panthers fan, she was in attendance for Game 1.
Hey, the celebrities also come out for the hockey games. That would have been cool to see. I definitely missed that. 2 straight Game 1 shutouts for Big Bob. Alec's going to start us off here. What's Bobrovsky going to do for an encore? What's Florida going to do? How is Edmonton going to respond? Take it away.
That is all the theater, all the mystics of all this. All the questions don't be answered right now here. Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final 2024. I am Alec Nava alongside John Ott. We'll have you with us the entire way. It's Verhaeghe on the drive right behind. Barkov, several backs in it. Fed it over to right arm, over the far corner. Looking, and all over him was Connor McDavid. Sasha Barkov on the spin and turn around. Ekholm. Barkov. Usually don't see that from Ekholm because he's a steady defensive presence, whether it be Edmonton or Nashville. Cycle back for forcing. That quick shot kicked out the rebound. Swept away by Nugent-Hopkins. He'll pick it up at the far corner and dish it over to Evan Bouchard. Breakout star this season for the Oilers, whether it be playoffs or regular season. And it's just something when you become the third fastest defenseman to reach 50 career playoff points, and one of the 2 defensive faster to you was Bobby Orr. As we get an icy here, as Adam Henrique couldn't touch up.
Yeah, it's amazing already. As good as he's been, Alec, there's already so much on his plate. You talk about Draisaitl and McDavid. Well, Evan Bouchard is honestly in that same breath.
Think of elite company on the same sense with Bouchard, Paul Coffey. Yeah, we can even throw in Kel McCarr to the mix if we're throwing today's defenseman among the elites. And that's tall talk up there, but it's well-deserved tall talk. Cleared out this time around. The icing is going to be whistled out. Brandon Montour's the first here, chopped away from Henrique. This goes back over to Florida. They got the first goal of the final. That comes from Carter Verhaeghe, Mr. Clutch. Rodrigues shut up. Vinny Desharnais in his Stanley Cup final debut. Nearly intercepted, but now this goes to Amerant. The hot rod chops it along to the far side, bouncing over to Bennett. Cut away by Desharnais. Slowed down by Bennett. This goes to Nurse. Desharnais looks to clear again. Desharnais moves it up, and this goes over to Draisaitl. Draisaitl, this could be a 2-on-1 out of the reach of Henrique and chipped out. Poke further, recollected by Desharnais. Might have fired this right over to Ray Ferraro.
Well, I can say this right now for Florida, and I'm not being disingenuous either. The first 3 minutes of Game 1 was absolutely crazy when the Hyman chance from Bobrovsky hit him right in the grill. This is a better start for Florida here, but we're only a minute and 45 seconds in as we get a neutral zone draw.
It is a neutral zone draw indeed. Sometimes, as they say, if you ever see them fighting in the forest of a grizzly bear, help the bear. That's the case with Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, all the top 4 stars for the Oilers. You can even see Alexander Barkov, who has team leading 19 points for the Panthers. Funnel chops it backwards, and his deep pass over center ice, bouncing through the blue line. Kolakov trying to hold, and Vander Kane pins it towards the wall. Chop backwards over to Kulak. Kane brings it free. This goes back over to the Panther zone where it's OEL. Across over to Kulakov. Kulakov sent it through. Anton Lundell is it. This one blocked off the stick of Philip Brodeur. Bounces over to the safety netting.
We mentioned many times about Kris Knoblauch and the penalty kill since taking over. 46, 18, and 5 during the regular season. A complete transformation. Again, still on that penalty kill streak. that they've been in. That's now 35 straight. We'll see what happens here with Paul Coffey as he's instructing some of the defensive side. It's an auspicious start, not bad for Florida, as this will be an offensive zone draw. Looks like it'll be an opportunity for Steven Lorentz in the fourth line, but now it's Stanley.
Yeah, he gets tossed out the face-off dot. In comes Stanley taking his place. The Oilers are falling in 4-0 in games when they are trailing a series. That included Game 4 of the Western Conference Final against Dallas when he scored 5 unanswered. Their only multi-goal comeback victory of this postseason. This goes back behind Bob Streets, over Connor Brown, and out to center. A chase for the spot. Will be picked up by Echo. Bounced off at the far side. Waiting with his yard mark. Go send it in. Bobrovsky slowed it down. 4 shot attempts with the Panthers, done by the Oilers as Sam Carrick on the hold. Yalmar got slowed down by Kulikov. Stanley on the bump and run. Lorentz, go to the near side. Low too far, but Ekholm brought it through to the far side. Good hold inside by Stanley. He's talking about the shot. Bouncing puck over to Brown. And through the far side is Carrick. He X-Duck. One of 2 X-Ducks to be acquired by the Oilers at deadline alongside Adam Henrique, who's down forcing plays it over to Aaron Ekblad. The first overall pick in 2014. Panthers can't start being sub. They'll have to wait back. It's Sam Reinhart. Pick number 2. Over to Verhaeghe. To the far side. Nurse was in the way. Aaron Ekblad pitches. Trying to keep this one through. A poke at it. Draisaitl. Cut that one away. And back this goes over to Henry. To the far side. Intercepted. Bounces over to the benches. Intended for Holloway.
I'll tell you this right now. Again, still early as it's 1-0 on the shots for Florida. This feels like 2 teams that are kind of locked into what should have been Game 1. This is Game 2. Game 1 was a bat out of hell. It was hits everywhere. It was frantic in action. This is kind of locked in to see who's going to make the first move here.
It feels more of a defensive tug-of-war to start things out. In the opening 3:13 of the first period, McDavid has 6 shots in Game 1, the most in his playoff career, when it was held without a goal. Here's Oliver Ekman-Larsson on the punch right inside. This save is not going to be deflected. It was sent from behind the red line. Oilers get an offense, don't draw off the icy.
So on this one, he had 6 shots. Again, in the Vancouver series, there was a couple times where he was held without a shot in the first game and then 1 shot within Game 6. So they got a lot of chances here for McDavid. Draisaitl going to get set to take this one.
It's a 2-headed monster that's out there onto the ice whenever both Draisaitl and McDavid are on. It's Draisaitl to take the draw. Opposite Evan Rodrigues. Draisaitl wins it. This goes back for Ekholm. Now Bouchard holds it. Bouchard looks for deflection. Doesn't get any from McDavid. McDavid holds. Did not drop it off. McDavid's going to keep. Sam Bennett's on it. McDavid spinning and turning. Now in the right circle. McDavid trying to do it. Hyman missed it. And this goes back for Florida. Bennett twisting and dragging along. A move up for Rodrigues, who parks over the left point. Swing this one across over to the waiting Sam Bennett. And around back this goes. Not for Kachuk. Back over to Ekblad. 1 shot. And brought down by Skinner. Shot number 2 of Game 2.
No problem there for Stuart Skinner. I want to go back to that previous one. Connor McDavid seems spinning around the circles, continuing to buy time. Cuts right, cuts left, pass right through the goal mouth. And guess who stayed with him the whole way? He was shadowed by Bennett and Evan Rodrigues. That was some great work.
His zone defense this time around for the Panthers is not man-on-man, but does a good job on the back check by the Panthers defensively. To stay over his zone, to limit McDavid's options, to shadow him all throughout. Bennett, Rodrigues, that second line, the agitator line, that's what they like to call. Holloway, the pass intended for him, was broken up by Forby. He's been a tremendous factor for the postseason. Team leader in defenseman and points. Maximum speed for McDavid in the playoffs is 23.85 miles an hour, the fastest of any skater in the NHL. And it's no question why he keeps getting named onto the fastest skater competition in the NHL All-Star Skills Challenge. Barkov and the Oilers zone. This is Nico Mikwa. This bounced off the leg. This goes to Edmonton now. McDavid, he's been so speedy all throughout his career. Philip Broberg shot walked up high. Just a second shot attempt by the Oilers in Game 2.
We've already had the puck go out of play 6 times, as it's 8 shot attempts for the Florida Panthers. This time Broberg in between, as you called, Mikula and Montour as they mix in that part of the defensive side. But I do think that this has been a good defensive structure so far for Florida. We'll see if it continues.
Feels like who's going to be the first domino to fall here? It's not going to be easy. Who is going to fall down here is Ryan McLeod. He was taking this base up. We had him as a healthy scratch as per the NHL protected lineups. He's on the lineup tonight. Luostarinen says it in. Nurse leveled up high. McLeod gets leveled but gets it up. Brandon Montour walked down in front. Might have been friendly fire. Agile Lindell back hit with this. Back is along for Tarasenko. Tries to step for Luostarinen in front. Gets his body up and dispossessed. Arne. Nurse. Go to the far side. Can't lift this one out. Montour on the key. Good hold. Stumbling was Lindell. Can't get the shot away. Counter flex one over to Stuart Skinner. Easy save there on the kick out. Montour got another one. Another save there by Skinner. Good hold there by Florida. This one backhanded on behind Skinner's crease. Good hold by Luostarinen. Zone tie still alive. Lindell center forward. Poso intercepted. McLeod tries to go out with his and does. Finally, that zone for Poso to be re-entry. Gets shut off there. Arne back with this. McLeod looks to go back for Desharnais and does. On Poso shadowing. Vinny Desharnais backhands one along for the near side of the boards. Oilers get this one in deep. Henrique is Lawrence. Cycles one around Bobrovsky. Over to the far side. He's looking to enter through. This might be set at the red line. Stuart Skinner will set it on for Bouchard and got one up for McDavid. What will he do now? Zach Hyman looks to return it back for McDavid, and McDavid too fast on the entry offside to call.
This one I want to give credit to Steve Dangle on that side. I'm watching some of the cup check video, but that third line in between Lindell, Luostarinen, and Tarasenko, man, they do a great job being able to waste time in behind the net and create chances, don't they? When they touch that in behind the cage, and you got Lindell off the backhand, that's a nice way to drive the bus and create some zone pressure.
Oh, for sure. If you look at that third line between Luostarinen, Lindell, and Tarasenko, you figure out putting out the right lines for the right chemistry with one another. So far, everything is clicking for Paul Maurice's team. Luostarinen, Lindell, Tarasenko, and not to mention about Verhaeghe, Barkov, Reinhart, and Tkachuk, Bennett, Rodrigues. That's been outstanding for them. The Tkachuk line is out there again. Two former Flames there and a former Penguin, Evan Rodrigues. There's a bump and run. Sam Carrick over to the far side. Deflected up. Panthers will restart with this. The play is whistled dead. But I don't think Tkachuk is done just yet. He wants to go with Sam Carrick. The officials are breaking up with Sam Bennett. He looks like he's going to go to the box.
I think so, too. It looked like a bump and run there with Sam Bennett, and all of a sudden that drew a crowd. I think I could understand a little bit why, because in game one, it was Sandpaper Sam taking a run at Connor McDavid.
It feels that way as well, as we are getting an official call from Chris Rooney. 2 for tripping, they say, for Bennett. He's going to sit for 2. Our other referee, Johnny Bear, Weissman, Ryan Daisy, and Devin Bird. But Bennett, he did stick a leg right on Evan Bouchard. That was a clear penalty.
Yep, Evan Bouchard in game 2. Again, as you mentioned, Connor McDavid in game 1. They kill this one. I think they'll take that with Sam Bennett because, again, the 1 assist, 11 hits, kind of getting in the face and the minds of the Edmonton Oilers, kind of just control that mindset of the game, if you will, on that end. Again, I got to use that word. But that's what you want to do for Florida. You want to be able to have that pace and that defense and that structure. I like what they've done so far. I think it's been a good adjustment. Yes, I know it's still scoreless. And yes, I know that Edmonton could explode at any time. But just a couple nights ago, when we already got in this first break, Alec, I thought I was going to lose my voice. This has been a completely different start in Florida. I think a much better defensive structure, and that's what Paul Maurice was looking for.
Yes, we saw the flashes of the defensive structure from last year, but this year we see the defensive structure is full of potential, especially with Tkachuk leading that forecheck. And speaking of Tkachuk, wouldn't it be crazy to see that 2 guys from the same city, from the same high school gym class, would win championships for their respective professional teams as superstars and faces of their respective franchises?
Yeah, I love that on that side because when I saw, remember it was last year with Tkachuk on Inside the NBA, and they did that little video of them in the gym kind of DJing with music alongside Jason Tatum. I had a good laugh on that one. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, it surely is. Still astounding at this day. And even if they were to win championships with their respective teams, can we see a Dale Larry O'Brien trophy for Jason Tatum and a day of the Stanley Cup for Matthew Tkachuk both at the same time?
That would be cool, and they got to make it happen.
Yeah, they have to. I feel it has to happen. If this were to materialize, not only for the Celtics, but also the Panthers, Gotta happen first, though. Oilers going on the power play. The penalty kill for the Panthers that has been rock solid on one possession. Alexander Barkov forced McDavid out of his zone. So we have the power play starting now, but Barkov did a good job of shutting down McDavid on one of those power plays. There's a 3-on-2 for the Panthers short-handed. Sends inside, goes over to Stanley at the far corner. Nugent-Hopkins wants a whack and it does so. Finds Bouchard on the pass back. The Oilers this postseason, aforementioned, 35.2%, but the Panthers have killed 35 of the last 37 penalties. Here's McDavid through the near side. McDavid cruises through. And the left side for the Nuge. Drop backwards over to Bouchard. Back for the Nuge, can't do it, but McDavid's behind the net. Sends one over to Draisaitl at the right point. Stanley aggressive on the back check. McDavid, Draisaitl controls in the backhand. Nugent-Hopkins kept alive. McDavid, pass tipped up by Barkov. What a masterful defensive presence by the Panthers on the penalty kill. They killed out 51 seconds of their penalty.
Yeah, they did, man. Meanwhile, all that was going on, I think that's why we previewed this going into game 2. Bobrovsky, did he get bumped? Yeah, he got a little piece of there for Hyman, but again, the way those blades are, any sort of push is going to knock Bobrovsky. He almost knocked himself out into the right post.
Oh, he was slipping backwards. And a roll for his own crease is their profile with Zach Hyman. Playoff leading 14 goals in the postseason. Those are Alex Ovechkin numbers when he had 15 goals in the postseason. A backhand missed the mark, though McDavid was going for this quick strike. Cleared out by Florida. Kris Knoblauch is keeping his first power play out onto the ice. Exactly what he, Volkovsky, when Golinson are going for. And Mark Stewart as well. So I named on the assistant coaches for the Oilers. Draisaitl lets it up on McDavid. Lost the handle. Gets his own puck back, sandwiched by Nikola at the far corner. The Nuge got swiped at. Hyman saw this one, got cleared out. 38 on a man advantage. And so far, full marks to the Panthers penalty kill on holding the Oilers power play in check. Bouchard drops back over to Draisaitl. Draisaitl will take it up. Lost it over to Forsman. Masterful penalty killing by the Panthers. They're not even giving the Oilers any sort of space. Stanley almost caught Skinner way out of the crease. McDavid lost it for a moment. He brings it up. Draisaitl, near half boards. On the drop over to Bouchard. And a one-time opportunity intercepted intended for Hyman. McDavid rid up this puck for a brief moment. A hold, and pass across, batted up. And Ekblad clears it out. Great job by the Panthers, forcing the Oilers to no shots on goal. That was masterful. That was beautiful. Now they're in the zone. Far corner. 36 under 38 penalties killed out. Ekman Larson drove it up high and onto the safety netting. This was beautiful for the Panthers.
Alec, I hate to throw it back to you so soon here, but man, oh man, I feel I got like goosebumps in the back of my arms there when I saw the crowd just erupt and wave the towels. But as you said, that was a masterful performance. Edmonton felt like they were in jail.
Yeah, they were locked down completely. Felt like they were all trapped. Nowhere to go, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. That's why you have the two-time Selke Trophy winner Alexander Barkov on your team.
This team is absolutely loaded. They're playing with intensity now, but it's still scoreless as we're getting close to halfway done to the first.
Sam Bennett lost the draw. This goes over to Connor Brown now. Pass up for the wing. Shot forward by Matthias Janmark. Bobrovsky. Sam Carrick tried to pitch. Brown was there over the far side to show the overhead cam. Backhanded along as the Panthers re-enter. Sam Bennett. He was wide open, but the Oilers, they were tied up. Two bodies fall down. Kachuk is in. Kachuk shot saved. The rebound loose. Carrick picks it up. We say 5-on-5. Foul stop the referee. Out from the trapezoid. Off for Carrick. Carrick turns around and banks it around behind Skinner. Go to the near side. This goes now. Up for who I believe was Carrick. And this one cleared down onto Bobrovsky. No shots in the first 9 minutes of play for the Oilers. Luostarinen spun around by Warren Fogle. That was vicious. Loose puck over the logo. Brought back in by Luostarinen. Up for the Tarasenko show. Luostarinen, he got clipped. Evan Bouchard in the midst of it. The Panthers take exception to it, and Luostarinen, he's down.
Oh, man. I'm not exactly sure if it was knee to knee. Again, he's motioning over like he might be okay, at least talking over, but Evan Bouchard is taking some punches. Evan Bouchard's already taken a lot of punishment in this game. I need to see that replay again, admittedly. as Luostarinen, I think, is going to be able to make his way back to his feet. So Luostarinen, yeah, that was a knee clip in between Warren Fogle and him and Luostarinen. Hopefully he's okay. I'm getting another look at it now, and maybe a hyperextension. I hope not.
Oh my word, that is absolutely brutal for Luostarinen. That knee area. Do you remember
Yeah.
he got injured before last year's Stanley Cup final, and now he's injured during the Stanley Cup final again.
Well, I will say this, regardless of whether or not Luostarinen comes back in, we mentioned Lindell and Tarasenko on that third line. I think that definitely changes some things, as now he needs some help from the trainer. I do think the way that he's putting enough weight on, at least he'll be okay, but that's going to change some things in that third line. I think Edmonton's going to the box as well.
They're going to review the penalty, determine if it is a minor or a major, or if there's no penalty at all. So this is officially under review, but Warren Fogle, Eetu Luostarinen, I think it's a hyperextension. Let's see the replay. I think Fogle was sliding just enough to get the knee out. So have that possibly be a penalty. We'll have that further look, unless if it is incidental contact. If they rule it, headsets are off. We're going to get the official call to determine Fogle's fate.
I'll let you take it, Alec.
5-minute major and a game misconduct. Fogle has officially been tossed.
You know what? I'm shocked. I'm not saying it isn't worthy of a double minor or a penalty. 5 for a knee on knee. And now Florida already has 6 shots. They're leading the pace. Yeah, they might miss Luostarinen for the rest of this game. That does probably mean that Ryan Lundberg can go in and do some damage on a fourth line. That's going to shake up their third line, shake up some forwards today. But Panthers score here. That's not good for Edmonton at all.
No, it's not. Especially if it's 5 minutes. It's a 5-minute power play, and whenever the Panthers score that man advantage, this power play will not expire by any means.
No, and not to mention, again, we talk about Luostarinen and the impact that it's going to bring. Warren Fogle is one of the fastest skaters on the team. I know nobody's going to beat McDavid, but Fogle is supposed to be that jet engine, the burner, and a backhand penalty killer should they need it. Being a forward down, that is going to hurt Knoblauch's squad.
It is. And who knows if there's going to be any supplemental discipline coming up. I feel there may be some intent to it with the full extension of the knee, but it's going to hurt nonetheless for Kris Knoblauch's team. If he does get suspended for game 3 because of this, do you put in Sam Carrick or Derek Ryan back into this? Who subs out? I think Corey Perry is out of this mix on the lineup because Ryan McLeod is subbed back in. So you have McLeod and Henrique on this lineup. So no Fogle means you're going to lose a 20-goal scorer in the regular season.
Yes, you're going to lose a guy that scored. You're going to lose a guy that has speed. The Oilers have killed 30 straight power plays, essentially. They're going to have to kill 2 for the price of 1. And as Alec mentioned, you get the full 5 there. And this is big. And I don't want to be hyperbolic, but this might be the game here in game 2 if Florida scores a couple. I'm not saying that Edmonton can not bounce back and be able to get the job done. But if you're Edmonton at worst, I think you can only concede 1.
You can only concede 1 on a 5-minute major like this. That is at the very worst for this. You do not want to have more than 1 goal out on such a 5-minute power play here, as the coaches are coming together in the wake of Fogle's absence and Luostarinen's potential absence. We don't know if he's going to come back into this game, but nonetheless, crucial time here for the Oilers, who have got 11 straight games without allowing a power play goal, the most since the Montreal Canadiens just 3 years ago with their 13 straight games.
I did want to mention this before we get into it. It seemed like Edmonton kind of balancing itself, trying to play counterattack, not expending too much energy. That's been great. At least they haven't conceded anything. They don't have any shots here, but they're not really expending too much energy. But now this is going to mess up your lines a little bit, and we'll see maybe if Florida can even capitalize toward the end of this period. But 10:39 left in a 5-minute power play. Let's go.
They're beginning with their second unit. First unit, I thought it was their second unit because I thought it was Lindell and not Barkov. So Verhaeghe look to set up over to Montour at the left point, return feed over to Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe moves in, curl and track move, broken up, send it back over to Montour as the Panthers keep. Reinhart, deep right point, Nugent-Hopkins pressed. This goes back around to left point. Verhaeghe can't hold it. That's a rare error on the Panthers' power play as they look to restart again. They're 22.6% of the man advantage, 0 for 2 in game 1. Those numbers can certainly improve. Barkov, cut away by Desharnais, but he continues to hold. Barkov back over to Kachuk. Long shot away. Wristed wide. Montour able to hold at the far corner. Goes back over to Kachuk. That's deep left point. Deck from behind by Desharnais. Not enough to beat Egregious, though. Reinhardt's on the hold. Almost cleared out as Janmark, who just gets this through. Barkov hooked it away once. And this goes back over to Kachuk, who cycles up through to the boards. Near side over to Reinhardt. Reinhardt dropped back over to Sam Bennett as part of the second unit has already come out for the Panthers. 3:55 left on the man advantage. It's a 5-minute power play for the Panthers. But the biggest kill for the Oilers among their first straight penalties killed was that 4-minute double-minor for Hasek on Connor McDavid. Bennett, that was game 1. And the double overtime game 1 between the Western Conference final of this posting. Ryan McLeod chops it out and does that, kills up 125 of the 5-minute major. Back is OEL. Oliver Ekman-Larsson leads the way. Brodeur right side, skating Bruce Rodrigues, cut away. And a nice defensive possession. Oh, goodness. This will cancel out 2 minutes of the power play. We'll have 2 minutes of 4-on-4, and it's 2 for tripping.
And OEL's going to go to the box. Again, he was cut up, and they're taking a blast to the face there. And that first came on the boards, and now he gets a critical tripping call when Lindell, the secondary power play unit's out there. Paul Maurice can't be pleased with that.
No, he can't. You can't take any silly penalties like this.
No, I mean, that was an excellent kill so far for the Oilers. Again, we commended Florida on the penalty kill on the other side, while Edmonton's returning the favor. And now maybe you have the opportunity for Draisaitl and McDavid here on a 4-on-4. Draisaitl taking the draw. McDavid is on the off wing.
And it makes me all the Oilers fans and the Oilers players, they all reacted in unison when Janmark got tripped up like, oh, hell. That's a priceless reaction, John.
Yes, it is. And now we have a chance where I said, only one conceded. That'd be okay. Maybe Florida might concede here. What a turn of events.
It might. Especially since the Oilers, they have not had a shot on goal for these first 11 minutes of play. McDavid wants to drop an eggplant pounce on it. Barkov to the right side. Bouchard racing forward with Reinhart. Reinhart can down low. Poke loose over to the far corner, where it is CMD. Up for Matthias Ekholm. Here comes a 3-on-1 potentially. Ekholm has Draisaitl. Shoots and scores! What a turn of events! First shot, first goal for the Oilers. It is Matthias Ekholm.
Yeah, I didn't mean to call it, but you kind of felt like that was going to happen. Here's the one other thing you can say. With the 4-on-4 there, not only do they score, it gets a chance to put your lines back in, correct, and continue to shuffle them around. Bobrovsky was absolutely brilliant in game 1. He faces the first shot. That's an absolute stinker that goes in the back of the net. It's a 3-on-1. Ekholm, he just likes to shoot, and it bleeds right through Bob.
Bobrovsky got almost all of it on the 5-hole, but it's not enough. You have to get 100% of that. He got basically 85% of that shot. Matthias Ekholm from Connor McDavid on the potential 3-on-1, but Bouchard was sideways up, so this made a 2-on-1, but no matter. They picked the 5-hole. This time it worked. They wanted to shoot high side around. They continued to go with the low side, but this time it worked. Against Bobrovsky, a rare low side goal in which he's given up with the Panthers. They're looking to counter here. If no other goal comes here in the 4-on-4, the Panthers go back to the 5-minute power play. Brandon Montour, this one way up high. He had a wide open net. I think Skinner got a piece of it with his outstretched blocker. And if that is the case, what a save!
I was just going to ask you, Alec, what did that hit? Yes, it did. You called it in real time, right in on the blocker, and then off the post and out of play. Are you kidding?
Stuart Skinner, if he got a piece of that one, which I think he did, I think that might have bounced off the crossbar afterwards.
Absolutely unreal. Now Florida gets puck possession.
They have the face-off win from Lundell. Rodrigues taps it backwards. Ekblad right back around for Lundell. Holds it to 4.5 boards. Tapped it backwards. He was looking before swing. Draisaitl was there. Johnny on the spot to cut that one Now Lindell right around Connor McDavid. Here's a 3-on-2. Rodrigues looks to answer. Drop back over to Lindell. And flat holding. Great patience. Even better patience by Stuart Skinner to stop that. Lindell, tight shot. Gloved out of midair by Stu.
I was wondering on that first pass, it was a drop. I mean, it didn't move. It is on ice level. What were they doing? They were forcing on the other way, almost turned into a counterattack. And then some really good puck movement there as Aaron Ekblad gets denied. That was a great save for Stuart Skinner.
Yeah, went off the edge of his glove. Usually, when it bounced off the edge of a glove, you would think that would be going in. But that time, it takes a bounce off of his glove and it stayed out.
Now Sam Bennett wins the key draw.
So here he is. Helping this right, Nugent-Hopkins wins it. And a long blast. Didn't go for Gustav Forsling. Fan on it. Forsling on the key. Around for Erod. Bennett rushes after over the far corner. Chopped away to dispossess. Races after his own puck over the near corner. Tied up by Kulak. The Nuge goes after. Foot race. Recollected by Forsling. Hyman slowed him down. Now gets it. Hyman slides. And comes crashing down over the far corner. He gets it back at the trapezoid. Sets up for Gretzky's office. Back up for Brodeur. Bouncing puck wide and then on the one-timer. Now this gets recollected by Erod up for Bennett. Will we see the second power play in or the first power play in back out for Florida? I think they're going to conserve their energy and get the first power play in back out there for the Panthers as Oliver Ekman-Larsson's case said to come out the box to resume the 5-minute power play that they were left off with before OEL took that penalty, leading to the Ekholm goal. Reinhardt, Barkov's out there, so it is the first power play unit. Stuart Skinner slowed it down, played it right onto traffic over the far corner. Drop pass from Kachuk over to Montour. Long shot, and Atlanta onto Skinner's spread basket. 1:08 to go on the man advantage.
It's too early to say it right now, but I have to say it because the thought's in my brain. Are we going to see the complete mirror image reverse of Game 1, and meaning that Florida's going to get a ton of shots and Edmonton's going to find a way to win this thing? One shot, one goal. That's what Edmonton's got right now. They're trying to kill 1:08 left of the 5-minute advantage, and they already got one 4-on-4.
In addition to the last two games that we covered, that is getting that brought too much to bear on our minds, John. The one shot, one goal already. The Oilers on the board, beating Sergei Bobrovsky on the Bible. 8 wins is after Oilers clear. Perhaps it's going to be 31 straight penalties killed for the Oilers. Who knows? Barkov leads the rush. Rose center and on across with speed. To the right side, dispossessed. Desjardins gets it out. Skating with this is Connor Brown taking it in from the far side 1-on-1. Brown trying to dance his way through. Chopped it over to the near corner. Double team by Barkov and Montour. And that dispossesses him of the puck. Sasha Barkov starts up with 35 on the man advantage. Barkov lead the way. Turning around near side. Landing onto the far corner. Almost picked up by Florida. Edmonton away there. Reinhardt can jump Verhaeghe there for Florida. One of the Oilers back there is Janmark. Still is loose over the far corner. Away for no man's land. It lands on the Janmark. Softly plays it out over the center. Bertie left on the man advantage. A tie-up. This goes to the Panthers zone now. 10 to go. Here's Montour. Back with his own zone. Line gauge out there, so there's going to be no last rush as Ekblad's out there. Anton Lundell jumps starting in the rush. The 5-minute power play is over. What a kill by the Oilers. They killed out 31 straight. Matthias Ekholm back with his own zone. Near side, Dylan Holloway out of the box. He was the one serving the Warren Fogle 5-minute penalty. Holloway is all tied up. Over to the far corner. This goes over to Ekholm. Gets it out. Bounced off of the referee and onto Tarasenko. Gets dispossessed. Holloway falls down. Lands it over to Henrique. Intercepted. He was looking for McDavid. Gustav Forsling. Tied over behind by McDavid. Sends it in. Skinner from his trapezoid. Gets it out over to Ekholm, the goal scorer of Game 1. Game 2. Almost a Game 1, but the Game 1 goal scorers, they were all Florida. All 3 of them. 8 won the shots with the Panthers. Stuart Skinner has turned away everyone. The Panthers 8 shots. Lead the way with the far side, McDavid. Pass Lawrence. Connor McDavid. Zach Hyman trying to step in front. McDavid. Sharp angle. Bobrovsky turned away. Hyman tied up right behind the net. Dispossessed and lands over to Stanley, who clears. Bouchard chopped it forward. Leads the way for Draisaitl. For the far side. And landing onto Bobrovsky at the trapezoid. McDavid with 1 assist, 1 shot on 5 of 7 of ice time. Here's Ekman-Larsson back with this. Ryan McLeod shadowing him. Just the second shot on goal for the Oilers in this game. Bobrovsky has turned away in that first save on a McDavid sharp shot. Evander came back at the far corner. McLeod all tied up. From Gretzky's office. Several whacks in it, and it's lays out for Kane far corner. Back from McLeod, and an intercept on the way there as the Panthers lead the way 2-on-2. Potentially, it could be a 3-on-2 if they hurry, but instead, inside to send this move. Skinner jumps over to the right side of the post. You covered that one up with 4:05 remaining here in this first period.
I know, just the second shot on goal now for Edmonton, but when you get right past Steven Lorentz and company, and you're Connor McDavid, and all he really had to do, there was no stick handle, just a head fake, a little how do you do to get a shot on Sergei Bobrovsky. You better make sure to keep 97 in front of you.
And guess who's going crazy? The entirety of the Moss pit. I know most of Canada, most Torontonians, you can say they want to have Edmonton get their back. Well, Justin Trudeau released a statement saying all of Canada's got your back. Well, I think the exception to that may be the city of Calgary, and I think Vancouver's divided on public opinion who they want to root for in the Stanley Cup final.
I will say Vancouver, House divided, Toronto, fine with it. Calgary, absolutely not. That's my guess.
Yeah, that will be our guess as well, John.
So, again, I'm a few minutes away from giving you some interesting thoughts, and I promise it will be pretty interesting because I don't know if you're going to agree with everything that I have to say going into this intermission. But as it stands, the Edmonton Oilers have scored on a 4-on-4. Mattias Ekholm, his fifth of the playoffs from Connor McDavid, his 27th apple, 11-17 into that first period. Again, Zach Hyman, no goals because, as you mentioned, the 3-0 shutout from Game 1. Hyman is one goal away from tying Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin to get 15, which would be tied for most all time. 2 goals away from setting a playoff record in one season. I think he can definitely do it, and I think he's going to be on the score sheet today. And again, that kid that's flexing with the chains on, the John Cena wannabe with the backwards hat, he is a legend. What a picture that is.
He's here right behind Kris Knoblauch right now. Like the flex hand. I know it's a few years too late, but kind of that a little mannequin challenge there.
Yeah.
One shot attempts after rush for the Oilers. They have a goal on one of those shot attempts, but mannequin challenge for this young kid.
Absolutely legendary. It's an offensive zone draw upcoming for Florida.
It is Rodrigues taking it for the Panthers up against Draisaitl. Tie up. Rodrigues gets some help from Bennett, but this lands onto Holloway. Holloway can use his speed as he used the afterburners. Can't do it around Mikko. He's forced behind that and bodied off of it by what believe was Brodeur, but Draisaitl will hold that number for long though. This Bennett operated away. Rodrigues, for the near side, sends one through. Red Clark, the first one backward, got tied up by Bennett. Maverick jumped in the front. Look for Evan Rodrigues, can't do it. Now here's Draisaitl, back the other direction. Draisaitl looking to go to the goal mouth. Draisaitl, curl and drag, firing it wide. Has some room to shoot though, but couldn't do much of it. Maverick jumped, trying to make a partial break. Philip Brodeur got back on time with Rodrigues. Send it over to the near boards, over to Bennett. Back behind the net. This is a return feed over to Chuck E. Cheese. Spinorama shot, blocked out by Brodeur, but it's Rodrigues on the key. Can't do much of it. And guess who's back out there? McDavid activated his 2-on-2. McDavid fires it quickly on Bobrovsky. Gets leveled by Aaron Ekblad, who goes down along with him as well. As the tie-in from Gretzky's office bounces over far side. Barkov has it. Lead the way. First shot for the Oilers in this game. Mattias Ekholm got it away from the approaching Sam Reinhart. Jumping it up to center. As a race for the spot, the icing is waved off. Bobrovsky leads the way over for the far side. Ekholm will have first grab at it. Bouchard now. Evan Bouchard up through the Panther logo, retreating back into Nuge. Ekholm, the former Nashville man, slowed down by Bobrovsky on this dump in. Ekman Larson got it over to Tarasenko. Stanley Cup champion with the St. Louis Blues in 2019 is Verhaeghe. Sandwich on the entry, but Barkov's going to help him out. To the front of the net, and the shot denied by Stuart Skinner, who stops Vladimir Tarasenko.
That was some great movement there. Verhaeghe, pinned against the wall, never gave up on the play as it was fluttered. McDavid was right there on the back check. So this is what I wanted to highlight because I saw this in real time. As McDavid went down, Ekblad got his leg or knee pinned underneath McDavid. He looked like he took the worst of that collision. We'll have to monitor Ekblad to see if he gets back on the ice, because if you're without Ekblad and Luostarinen in the same game, boy, oh boy, that could be a completely different narrative as he's not on the bench.
He's not on the bench, as they say. We'll see if we can get some updates from Emily Kaplan about his status later now. The Oilers ice it, but minutes to go here, says Kevin Stanley. Over to the near side. This goes back over to Nico Mikla. Caught away on the pass. And a good takeaway there for the Oilers. Connor Brown, center one. That was kicked out by Bobrovsky. Now here's a partial break for Stephen Lawrence. They got back on time. Over the far side. Mikla bumped towards the Oiler bench. Sent through. Kulak starts up with 98 on the clock here in this first period. They makes his way over to the bench. Full-scale substitution for the Oilers. Played over to the far corner of Edmonton zone. And out to center. Come forward. Panthers on the way. Here's Bouchard walking around Tarasenko. Another smooth move. Bouchard walks his way in. For the near side, Bouchard points it over to Bobrovsky. Easily turns it aside. Tarasenko centers it up front. And a bouncing puck. Oilers denied them entry. Kulikov back at the Panther zone. 1:10 to go here in the period. Ekholm has the only goal. But Oliver Ekman-Larsson over to the far side. Kachuk spin around. This goes over back. And a deep pass from Sam Carrick cut away by Gustav Morfin. Will fires around 56 left to go on the period. Holloway the first one back. Around for Bouchard. And on a crossover to the far side, Holloway pickpocketed. The Panthers get this one up. Not for long. And Yadmark sent it through. And we have a stoppage here. And a call on the way here, I believe, is a penalty.
Evan Bouchard's going to go to the box, Alec. And Ekblad is on the ice.
And good that he's back. He got the worst of that contact between him and McDavid.
Wow.
He got his leg pinned, but Bouchard will see what he did. Elbowing right on Kachuk's face. Don't.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why, Evan Bouchard. I understand Kachuk's going to get in your skin, but don't open the door for the Panthers.
No, you can't. That's exactly what Kachuk wants to do. Exactly what Brad Marchand did best with the Bruins last decade. It's basically a copy and paste.
So now it's going to be Barkov. They're 0 for 2 with one shot. Again, Edmonton been able to have the lead here. If Florida doesn't score, they'll have carryover power play time heading into the second. 32 straight is on the line.
That is what we're looking at. It killed 32 straight penalties. 50 of 53. The only penalties that they had allowed power play goals against Vancouver. 3 of them, to be exact. Brandon Montour sets up. Now over to the left side for Verhaeghe. Down low for Sam Reinhart. Verhaeghe looks to go back over to Reinhart. Does. Verhaeghe near corner. They both exchange some more catch. And again, they do so. Verhaeghe back in the place. Montour blows it up. Fires it wide. The rebound loose. Cleared out by the Oilers. 23 on the clock here in this period. Bobrovsky plays it over to Montour. Over the far side. Drop back over to Reinhart. Maybe one last rush opportunity for the Panthers, if anything. Verhaeghe carries this in. Barkov all tied up. Montour able to hold the line. But this lands onto Connor Brown's stick. Clears this one through. And that may end off the rest of the first period. The Oilers outplaying through the majority of the frame, but they have the lead in what matters. The goal scoring. But here's Echo from Connor McDavid. It is 1-0 after 23.
So look, it's interesting to say because we could have this exact reverse discussion that we did on Saturday as far as Edmonton having the most of the pressure. Now we can say the same thing for Florida, but they're down 1-0. Best case scenario for them, and no, I'm not advocating for any type of injuries, but that's the way that it rolls. With Eetu Luostarinen, we'll see whether or not he comes back into the game. As Charles Barkley is going to make his way to the set, that is awesome on the ESPN side. But I am going to be watching now for Aaron Ekblad on the defensive end. Should anything else be ailing him, yes, he's back on the ice, but I will be monitoring his speed and everything else in the second period. And the reason I'm going to go ahead and say this for the Edmonton Oilers, you might think I'm wrong on this, but I'm going to go out on a limb. This is what you wanted in the first period if you were Edmonton. Not only because you have the lead, but you knew that there was going to be a good press for Florida because they wanted to play much better than they did in game one, even though they won 3-0. Because Edmonton was all over them throughout most of the first and second period of game one. I'm not saying Florida didn't come back and make some good defensive plays down the line and cut off some angles near the end, but the shots in mass, the high danger chances, Bobrovsky was absolutely brilliant. Paul Maurice wanted to clean up on that. Not only did you survive all of that for 20 minutes, you were able to start when you were stuck with a 5-minute kill, as Warren Fogel's done for the rest of this game.
Then you score on a 4-on-4 and a 3-on-1 chance, as Ekholm was able to get one against Bobrovsky on one he probably should have saved. You're able to take Florida's best pressure that we saw so far in the series and turn that into a 1-goal lead. And by the way, I think the most important part of it is this. Edmonton did not have to expend a lot of energy to do so, Alec. I think that they were kind of biding their time, and they might kind of unleash that energy like a boomerang as this goes along. They're trying to get the pressure late and maybe win it.
Yeah, I feel that's what Edmonton has to do to save their energy for the later periods.
Yes.
Second period, third period, that's when you had to break out all throughout. Second period, this is your chance to shine. To use that energy to your advantage, because you know the third period is when the Panthers really strike. Second period, I feel you have to get some more goals on the board. One goal may not cut it against this Florida team. Probably add 2 more in the second period if you want to get the Panthers slimmer chances of coming back at this.
So again, we both agree in the sense of the Edmonton pressure, I think, is going to ramp up a little bit in the second because it needs to counteract what Florida's going to do. And then we'll have to watch as we split in between the third. Now, I don't expect Edmonton to have, as less of a press as they did in the first period. Again, we mentioned that that's going to bump up a little bit. But I do expect Florida, I think I'm going to say it in this second period, that power play streak, that's going to end in the second period. I'm calling my shot here. I think the Florida Panthers at some point maybe tie this one, and we'll see where we go. And then we'll see how much energy is taken in from the second and the third. That is what I'm watching for. Pretty good game here for the Edmonton Oilers. Limited chances, but when you take that pressure and respond the way you did, we talked about belief systems. They feel like they're going to feel pretty good in game 1, but you need the result in game 2. I think they can get it. We'll see if they can tie the series up.
And Bill, if the Oilers, they can tie this series up, steal one on the road. We're in agreement that perhaps an even split will work best for the Oilers, and they can play to their advantage, knowing that the Oilers crowd is one of the toughest environments to play at. That's when the noise factor comes in. The home crowd factors in. There's maybe an unexpected X factor in this series. The Oilers' home crowd disturbs the opposition whenever the Panthers are in town. I feel that could play dividends to the Oilers' favor. To have the crowd come alive, and whenever the Panthers are touching up this puck, I know it's rare in hockey, but sometimes I hear Islanders fans chanting defense whenever they're on the penalty kill.
Sometimes that is rare in hockey. I wouldn't necessarily do that, but I would keep the noise to an absolute maximum at Rogers Place. You already know it's going to be because they're excited to see Draisaitl and McDavid crew going into their first ever Stanley Cup final. And I know this isn't forever. We'll see what the extent of injuries are going to be. Hopefully we do get that report from Emily Kaplan. But the Lundell, Luostarinen, Tarasenko line I mentioned earlier in the first, I think, has been a linchpin as headlining that bottom 6. Luostarinen can't go for Game 3, Game 4. Who does that put in the lineup? Do you think we're going to see an emergence of Ryan Lomberg?
It was going to be either one of Ryan Lomberg or Nick Cousins. I feel Lomberg, I think he's going to be most ideal for a third line spot alongside Lundell and Tarasenko. I think he's the best fit for that third line. Fourth line, you keep Steven Lawrence where he's at. That's his comfort zone.
Because I think for me, and I'm in agreement with you, you want to use that line alongside Lundell and have a sniper in Tarasenko to kind of max that up, keep the puck in behind the net and do the damage. That's what it seems like they've been doing well. If there was any sort of injury to Aaron Ekblad with a hyperextension, he's going to be shaking it off. We'll figure it out. I see Ulvis Bell's, I don't even know how to say his name, Balinskis and Michael Benning on the back end for their defense with Tobias Bornfot. I kind of forgot that Tobias Bornfot was picked up from the Kings into the Florida Panthers. How the heck would they do the defensive line? Because it seems like these are the best 6 defensemen that they already have.
The best bet for me, if anyone were deciding to place an Ekblad is slowed up and can't go for Game 3. If he can't go, I would believe that would be my best candidate for that would be either Josh Mahura, knowing that he was dressed as a regular all of last year's playoffs, or Ulvis Balinskis.
I don't know about Belinsky's. I'm going to make sure I click on the young man and see 27-year-old from Latvia. So that would be a name that I certainly would see. But yeah, Josh Mahura is where I would go as far as looking into the depth chart. Thankfully and hopefully, we don't have to deal with a lot of these injuries as we did in the Stanley Cup final and that one against the Vegas Golden Knights. Hopefully, keep things even, all things concerned. Ekholm from McDavid. Let me give you the reset. We've been talking so much about line combinations, and I have, and some of the long-winded points on my end. Now, let me go ahead and give you some stats here. So the shots are 9-4 for Florida. Hits are 14-13. The one thing I knew that we were going to call correctly, this game was not going to be as physical as game one because we were almost on pace for 100 hits. That couldn't maintain itself. Face-offs 11-10 for the Edmonton Oilers. 3 power play opportunities already for Florida. They were turned away. 17 penalty minutes for the Edmonton Oilers. 8 3 block shots for Edmonton. Giveaways, there's been a lot on both sides. Florida leads at 7-6. But you take those penalties, I think if you're Kris Knoblauch and company, you got 17. I don't want to see any more than about 21. You can take another penalty a period, but that's about as much as I would do. They already got way too many. They were able to survive all that, keep it clean the rest of the way.
Yeah, 15 of those came from the Warren Fogle meme on Eetu Luostarinen that you want to clean up on the penalty department. You want to clean it up. Emphasize discipline. Keep your cool. Stay level-headed all around. Do not let Kachuk or Bennett get under your skin.
So I'm going to go ahead and look at one more thing here just to see if we can eye pop any ice time or anything else that stood out. Barkov leads the way with 7:22 and his 10 shifts of work. And on the other end for ice time, you got Evan Bouchard already at 9:21. On the NHL Network side, EJ Radick, and I'm listening to some of them going into this game too, they want to see Connor McDavid more around the 30, 21-minute mark. He can play up to 27 minutes and be fresh, but I know we mentioned it a little bit in game one. They would like to see, as they led into playing on the same line, having them split to go back to lines 1 and 2 to have the most success and keep the minutes down.
I also want to touch on something as well with Charles Barkley on this first intermission with Steve Levy and company. For Barkley's passion for hockey, and that's been a growing trend over recent years between him, Shaq, and the inside the NBA crew. The TNT crew is working at the buzzer to negotiate for a 4th NBA rights package with the NBA, and that will be big, knowing that not only will ESPN and NBC broadcast games, but TNT gets to keep their rights over at TNT. Perhaps a freeway collaboration between Chuck, Wayne Gretzky, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. with the NASCAR package.
That would be very interesting because I heard some maybe grassroots talk about maybe taking some of the games locally that people don't want to watch as much, that aren't high profile, and turning it in alongside the TNT side, should they do that, to be able to keep part of the inside crew together, part of the collaborations between NBC, as you mentioned, whether they go through other sort of streaming services. I think it's best in Adam Silver's interest. The NBA is going to make a whole ton of money. I don't care if I have to take a $30-40 million pay cut. That's nothing to them. Let everybody get a piece of the pie, and everybody's going to be happy. That's just where I'm at personally.
Yes. Have everyone get their whole credit for it, the piece of the pie. Everyone can make their money as well. It's what you're trying to say, and I'm not going to disagree with anything, but I like the points that you made. And now that we're talking about NBA, well, the LA Lakers tried to make an offer for Dan Hurley. Hurley said, I'm staying over at UConn. No thanks.
Alec, I think that's absolutely the right decision. I think you fall into the love and the fanfare. I know John Beeline tried to do that several years ago, going from Michigan to Cleveland. I know it's not the same market. It didn't work out, the age range and all of that. But if I'm Hurley, I'm such a fiery college coach. UConn's already had a couple of championships again under his belt. Donovan Clingan, I think, has really emerged. Again, we covered him
and the first part of the NCAA stuff last year when they won it, in the sense that he's looked pretty good. If I'm Hurley, I don't even think I really want to leave. Yeah, you entertain it. It's nice to be able to take the plane ride and have the talks, but I like where I'm at.
Yeah, stay where you are appreciated at. That's your home, and you want to stay at home if you want to build a long-term success with your team. As I felt, in my opinion, with the Lakers, any coach that lands there, in my opinion, may be set up for failure. It's no amount of money is ever worth sacrificing your legacy and tarnishing it and get labeled as a scapegoat on a nightly basis that's leading you to your eventual firing. I felt that Hurley may have been Doctor Strange in this situation because he saw every possible future and he saw each one of them ending up with him being fired in such a case. Because we may be seeing this story before with Frank Vogel and Darvin Ham. Basically, no coach is set up for success over the Lakers, and that's the unfortunate thing.
You're absolutely right. You nailed it 100%. Anything I'm about to say will be window dressing at best. But Darvin Ham, I think, has accepted the job as an assistant coach now for the Milwaukee Bucks. So you know he's going to land on his feet. Is Mike Budenholzer a free agent as far as coaching?
He accepted a job with the Phoenix Suns.
Okay, because that's what I was going to ask you. I think if you had to go with somebody with some tenure and some thought process, that might have been who I selected, but that's already done. Because from what I heard, and there's a lot of stuff on social media, so I don't know what's true and what's not, was, again, we've talked about LeBron and Bronny and playing together and the thought process, and we think that that's going to happen. But let's say if I was Hurley and I accepted that job, and then I get pressure to maybe draft Bronny in the top 15 when scouts don't even think he's going to be a second-round selection, that wouldn't go over very well. So I agree with you. Whoever they choose is going to be a step stool in the sense of it. Thankfully, Eric Spoelstra has been able to get away from that so many years ago and turn himself into one of the best coaches in the NBA. But you're exactly right. You got to find the right guy, but I have no idea who the heck that is.
And whoever it may be, I don't think the Lakers have any leverage whatsoever.
No.
But no. You look at the coaches that are available, the Lakers, they don't have any leverage that they can use to their advantage. Dan Hurley doesn't want the job, and the other coaching candidates, I don't know if they're trying to go for that job because Frank Vogel, the bridges have been burned already. JJ Redick seems like the most likely choice, but given that he is fresh off the court, several years removed as a player and now onto the broadcast, not to mention about his podcast, I'm not sure how this is going to sit well with the players or how that chemistry is going to work out with the Lakers as a whole.
I'm not saying JJ is going to do this because he's an upstanding guy, but you also don't want anything that he talks about in his podcast or anything in the locker room as a head coach also leak into the podcast.
I mean, you got to hold. If you're wanting to commit to coaching, I think you got to hold off on the podcast for a while.
And Alec, I think we can make this point too. I know I'll be making the transition to play-by-play, but I'm enjoying the discussion. If you're Redick and you're working alongside Breen and Dorsberg, honestly, the ABC crew's done a good job. Again, they miss Van Gundy and Mark Jackson, all that too, but I think they did a really good job alongside those two. And I'm already making a good amount of money doing the broadcast side, and that's a heck of a lot more cushy than being an NBA head coach. If I'm JJ Redick, why would I want to leave that?
You're already doing successful as an analyst on ESPN.
Yes.
Already in your first look at the NBA Finals with Mike Breen and Doris Burke, which I congratulate him for doing that on his first look at it at the NBA Finals with Breen and Burke, by the way. But why would you want to leave your podcasting opportunity and your job at ESPN unless if anything else happens, like with Doc Rivers twice in his broadcasting career, which he left for coaching jobs.
Oh, and by the way, that we're on that segment for Doc Rivers, the FX show clipped from former Married with Children star in Modern Family, Ed O'Neill. That is, I'm not going to say must-see television, but it's pretty good. And some of the retelling that they use and some of the player likenesses aren't exactly accurate, But the story is pretty entertaining. I would encourage you guys to watch that as you're checking out the NBA Finals.
I haven't watched it yet, but I may want to take a look at it as well.
You will laugh, and there will be some instances in which they talk about some things. We all know the story. I won't regurgitate it, but I think it might be worth your time. There are some things. Hopefully, they don't turn it into like a soap opera. That's what I'm hoping, that they just keep it all conjecture. But it is pretty interesting because the Clippers, we're a couple seasons away now, I think, Alec, from them finally getting their own arena alongside Steve Ballmer, so that'll be good.
I think they may be getting it soon.
So there'll be a lot of things to talk about. Again, we'll continue to follow alongside the NBA Finals when that gets back underway, and I'll share some thoughts on that as well. But I really enjoyed that intermission discussion. We'll see what happens here between the second period. The Edmonton Oilers do have the lead, essentially about 3 shots on goal, and they have one, courtesy of Matthias Ekholm, a 3-on-1 attack. And you had Draisaitl, McDavid, and Ekholm says, nope, I'm going to shoot this one near the left circle. It bleeds through Bobrovsky and goes into the back of the net. Again, a complete role reversal from game one. And this Connor McDavid sequence that they're showing on ESPN, let me just spin in between the circles and then loft the backhand across and skate about 250 feet, no problem. Then I'll beat 2 Florida Panthers, Alec, from behind the net, then create a breakout. I mean, what can't this guy do?
He's doing everything possible for the Oilers. All the distance covered around for the ice, getting the Panthers on a spin cycle defensively and setting up the fast breaks, the 2-on-1, which turned to a 3-on-1, lead to the Ekholm goal, and he covered basically all the ice to the far side, trying to get one himself on a sharp angle.
So do you think, I know we talked about it a little bit, do you think that the second period is going to open up a little bit more, or are we going to see more of the same?
It's even.
Okay, so we're going to go even on that side. I think that's where I'm going to lean as well. RNH will take the draw. Florida does have an abbreviated power play as I get set to take the second, and then we'll split the third. We'll do the role reversal from game one. So John Ott with you alongside Alec Nava as this one gets sent down the ice. I'll get my first look at the play-by-play in game two. The money line is favored heavily for Edmonton now, minus 220. That is not the way it started. The goals over-under still sits at 5.5. That would have been broken last game if not for Bobrovsky. This will be the puck blown dead with 1936 in the second.
We're seeing some old jerseys of the Panthers throughout this arena. Earlier, spotted Ole Jokinen jersey among the crowd after coming back from the intermission. But when he got into the intermission, there was a Scott Melleby jersey.
Wow, those are really old school jerseys. If you got that, where's the John Van Beesbrook? You got to get him in there. Mark off. Now it's Reinhardt. This will get it on the left side red line. Again, we used to have those old photo shoots in Florida during the playoff side. He was on the cover of NHL 97. Fun fact. As this one is another penalty, I believe, says Sean McDonough.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a trip. That will blow it dead with 33 seconds left on the man advantage. So effectively, make that 33 straight penalties kill for the Oilers. Hopkins going to be the call. We'll effectively have a 4-on-4.
Okay, so if you're Florida, you had a 5-minute major. You concede one. Now you take a couple. I just said that Edmonton had to keep it clean. Now you got Darnell Nurse. They're going to profile him with Rodrigues. But Florida's making some silly mistakes here, and they're taking some time away. Rodrigues takes a run at Nurse, and I'm not certain what I saw from that is now they have Tkachuk in the box, as this is an opportunity now for Kulak. Sends it around. 25 seconds left to go on a 4-on-4 bouncing puck. Does not hit Bobrovsky. And now Florida with the home Reds and blue pant mix will try to take this one left to right. This is a very slow breakout. What are they going to do here? Bennett off the spin and turn. Ekblad will monitor his speed. One of the Panthers got blown up. A long wrister. This one held by Skinner.
So I was a little behind on that. Was Sam Bennett, who was open for the left circle after it was a very slow breakout for the Panthers, as he noted. That took way too long to develop as Matthew Chuck in the box. We don't know what it is. They're going to say hooking. We don't even see the penalty at first, but that was very slow. It took a long time to develop. Now we're getting it, as it was. Yeah, Connor Brown, he got hooked up, so that's what drew the penalty. But nonetheless, you got to speed that up if you're the Panthers, if you're generating that breakout.
Yes, you do, and I'm glad that you brought that up because the initial call was like a minute and a half ago. We never got the camera shot. We finally did. That's why Kachuk's in the box. And again, I really don't know why he's taking that there. So some of these penalties that have been on both sides have been pretty poor, to be honest with you. Now McDavid, he's going to go end-to-end. Drop for RNH near the left side dot. It's Bouchard, high slot. Bouchard, RNH. Now McDavid, back to Nugent-Hopkins, extra pass, one-timer. This one blocked from Draisaitl. And now Bouchard, back to Leon, hops over his stick, Barkov. Nice backhand. Able to get this one down, and no problem for Florida as they'll send it back down. Stuart Skinner way out of his goal crease. He'll stop it and slow it down as Evan Bouchard can take this one right to left for the rest of the second. Again, the blue pants in the mix with the orange and white striping. Here's number 97. Gain the entry, spin and turn, drop high slot Bouchard. Near the right side, dot Draisaitl. Back to Evan. Here's the ripper. This one blocked again. Mikkola, as it got blocked from Stanley. Sent back down the ice. The penalty kill for both of these squads is elite. Florida is going to get to this first, actually. Here's Stedland. Steal! Oh, a shot misses the net. My goodness, near the right side post as Bennett had a golden opportunity. Draisaitl now. Bennett will get back. He'll waft it back down. Kachuk back on the ice. Stuart Skinner now slowly around the end boards for Evander Kane. He was taking all sorts of time to get to the puck. Bennett will steal again through center ice. Now Bennett, spin and turn. He'll find the entry. Bennett backhand. He gets blocked, but that was good skate entry. Now a slapper for Florida. And this one up and out of play.
It was a tale of two power plays for the Oilers. At first it looked good, but Bouchard firing a shot 98 miles an hour. He's known for those rockets. Both those were blocked. It was a good job by Barkov to block those shots up. Not to mention about how good this Panthers PK has been to match the Oilers PK, and even a pickpocket from Kevin Stanley to set up Sam Bennett, who lofted this one wide going top corner.
Yeah, he lofted that one like someone had too much to drink on that side. He just sent it way wide. He was shooting at the net over in the right side corner. It wasn't there. He missed it all. Montour, one-timer, Tarasenko. That's a pretty good shot off the rush, and a good save there for Skinner.
Good face-off win. He set up at the top of the right circle for Tarasenko. He's smiling, knowing he wants that trophy that he's won 5 years ago with the Blues. Nonetheless, it's pretty much good work for the Panthers. All that's missing is yourself, Stuart Skinner.
So Thursday, we're going to have a couple days off on our coverage together for the hockey side. Thursday will be Game 3. It's like 3 days to ship to the venue. Again, 2,541 miles. I was just going to say that, and ESPN brought it up, so thank you for that, whoever's working in the truck. Here's a one-timer. This one will get blocked. Sitting behind the inboards again. I get the aerial cam. I'm the king of the aerial cam, I guess. Is this near the right side? Stuart Skinner, snazzy glove saves, got it near the right post on OEL.
So there's another one for Skinner. He's making it look easy. He had his welcome to the finals moment in Game 1. That this is a good bounce back for Skinner here in Game 2. He's getting the majority of the looks that he's been faced with by Florida this time around as they're picking up from where they left off in Game 1.
I don't know.
Not the way that they were in Game 1, but here, they're getting the majority of the looks.
I don't know that lady or what material it is that's rocking the Stanley Cup with the medal on, but that's an acquired look there. I don't know if I could pull that one off if I was a super fan.
Me neither.
This one sent in behind the inboards. It bounces off the referee, so that negates any sort of icing as Bobrovsky will slow it down. It's picked off, and now we get a whistle. To be honest with you, I'm not sure why. And we get some more meeting near the players' benches.
Oh, we don't know what is the cause, but nonetheless, if you're going to say, was it offside? Was it?
It could have been, Alec. Your guess is as good as mine. I have 4 eyes, and I couldn't tell you on that one. And no, the initial one would have been an icing if it didn't bounce off the referee. And then we did have a whole bunch of players meeting and talking to each other. You did mention Vincent Desharnais drawing the lineup. He is a giant of a human being. And again, you can go ahead and lay out some damage as OEL. We'll go ahead and take a seat and they continue to change lines. John Ott here with you alongside Alec Nava. I'm taking the second period. We'll split the third. Still 1-0 Edmonton, 16-27. Really just getting underway here in the second period. Brandon Montour on the back end. Looks like Evan Rodrigues will take the draw again. He was excellent in game one. He loses that one, as this is a race for the puck, and Mikkola beats out Holloway. Holloway's got a couple extra shoves, but we'll do it again at Florida's offensive end.
You did mention Desharnais. We haven't seen defensemen that tall as what we saw Zdeno Chara in the 2011 Stanley Cup Final alongside 2013 and 2019. But whenever Chara's there to support Boston teams, he'll be there. He was in game one between the Celtics and Mavericks, and he even took a picture with Shaq.
That's something that you have to have. Two larger-than-life human beings. Darnell Nurse, as Ray Ferraro was giving his intermission talks or booth talks in there, he was given a long stare into the Florida bench, and I would imagine Matthew Tkachuk and company. So tensions are high. Shots are 12 for Florida. The event level has been way down. We kind of thought that was going to be that way going into game two, because both teams were essentially just chickens with their head cut off, fast pace all the way across in game one. That's not sustainable, and both coaches don't want to see that. You want to see things be a little bit more tight to the vest, as it's Montour now, backing through center ice. This will be sent in by Florida. You got three defensemen back. Desharnais gets an easy pin. Bennett now, almost with a half headlock as Tkachuk tries to get there. Ekblad near the right side red line. He's pinned by number 97. Good work there for Connor McDavid. We know he can play defense too. He had it near his own end behind Skinner. Now leads the breakout pass. His pass gets picked up. I thought he was in the middle of a change. Now Florida's not going to let him change. Ekblad steals. His shot goes off the left pad of Skinner. They were holding him near the bench. They wouldn't let him get on the ice. This is an opportunity now. Near the right side dot. Goes D to D. Florida got possession. Verhaeghe spin and turn. Skinner's got it. That was some gamesmanship there from Reinhart and company. McDavid wanted to take a change 3 times, and Florida said no.
It looked like a fire drill for Connor McDavid getting to the bench. In Florida, they were saying, oh, you want to get to the bench? Okay, well, first you have to stop us and get shut down on us when we're on your end of the ice. They kept it in, sustained puck possession. They got 14 shots on goal here for this point in time. They did make a scoring change on the Ekholm goal. They had just added a secondary assist and credited Evan Bouchard with such.
Thank you for that. I appreciate the correction, as this one is a face-off win. This will be slammed across the kick plate. Evan Bouchard will watch, as this one will be cleared out by the Edmonton Oilers. See if they can find something with speed. Connor Brown now out there with the fourth line side as Ekholm will send it down. This will be not across the red line, so Edmonton iced it. They didn't want to do that.
Yeah, thought it was a little deflection, but it was up high. I was slightly thinking that this wouldn't be as such, but not in that case. But what a turnaround for Stuart Skinner after he was abysmal in the first 8 games in postseason. He's been rock solid in the last 9, where he gave up 2 goals or fewer in 8 of his last 9 games. Kudos to him.
And that says a lot about him, doesn't it, Alec? Because sometimes when you get rocked up like that, you don't get the net back or you lose your confidence. And yet, Edmonton, maybe we could have had some of those talks about maybe trying to find some goaltending in the offseason. Nope, Stuart Skinner is our guy. He's been pretty good, to be honest.
He has been. As the number 1 goaltender for them, perhaps he can display this on a consistent basis on the seasons down for the road.
Barkov, as this one goes down near the right side, dot still very contested. Evan Bouchard will finally get a piece of this. Just a slow backhand. It's spun all the way around now, I believe, was Carrick. And this will be sent for Ekholm. What a bank pass. We'll fire it into the left side inboards now, spin around for Florida. On the defensive side is OEL. We'll try to shovel it ahead. Florida, can they finally get an answer here? Here's a long wrister. Try to kiss the right side post. That one goes wide right off the rush. As this is now Carrick off his backhand. He tried to send it around with a lob pass. Carrick to Bouchard. Florida just keeps it in with Verhaeghe. They'll send it in deep and force Edmonton to retrieve again. Now they bounce the puck. This one bounces off Montour's glove, and now Edmonton's got it in their own end. Ekholm will settle it down.
Offensive zone time, 6:44 to 3:39. Florida's got the advantage there, but they don't have the advantage on the board. It's 1-0. Hyman off the rush on his backhand. Spin and turn. Hyman now, right dot. He's kept on the outside. This shot gets blocked, maybe even off of McDavid. Ekholm, Ripper. This is near the left side dot. RNH will retrieve. They'll get it back. Send it around the inboards. Kulak. This one bounces. Hyman's there. It's McDavid now. And the offensive end, he gets a clean steal. And now Florida able to find it. Here's a loft. Able to get it to the neutral zone now. As this is a pickup. Tarasenko. This is Lundell. Off the rush. It's McDavid. He'll find the entry. He'll just flip it in an open area. Bounce up the stick handle of Bobrovsky. McDavid. Now on the left side boards as Florida tries to get the other way. I felt like I've said that a lot, but it's been more of a neutral zone battle than anything else right now in this second. A lot more attention on defense here for both squads. That is not a surprise as this one sent in. Warbling puck. He's slowed down by Stuart Skinner. And now Leon Draisaitl will have a go. He starts from his own end. 4 goals for assists, 8 points of Evander Kane in the playoffs. They want to see a little bit more from him. I think they would expect him to put more pucks in the back of the net if he gets his chance. Okposo, as he'll watch, Stanley gets the steal. This is sent back around. Lundell trying to buy some time on his own end. He gets a hit on Desharnais. I don't know if he's even going to feel it, considering how big he is. This will be sent back now for Ekblad. Ekblad with a long flip. This eludes the player's bench, and Florida has now iced this puck. This is a game that has not had a lot of momentum to it, Alex, so far.
No, it's rather slow. Not too much of the far in between, and the goals have been pretty much well earned. The only one from Matthias Ekholm, that's the only goal that stood. Both goaltenders are doing their part, but namely Stuart Skinner, who has kept his head in this game and not let Florida get any.
So you get a chance to pick up now on the defensive end. It's Stenlund. We'll take this one against McDavid. So line 4 against line 1. Kevin Stenlund wins a key draw there. We'll see if Florida can actually get this one out. 1 assist, 2 shots, about 10:30 of ice time for McDavid. McDavid now back still on the ice. Leave Bouchard back to Connor as he makes a combination play and send it into an open area. Edmonton trying to hold on to this lead right now. Dare I say this could be a game 7 or maybe one of those things where Dallas had the chances and Edmonton able to survive with just 10 shots. Right now, they're on pace for 10 shots almost halfway through this game. That would be quite a surprise considering how much attack it was in game 1, at least on that end. RNH, Kulikov will be held against the boards. Good couple of hits there behind the bench and some good forechecking here for Edmonton. Broberg, now McDavid. Bouchard, extra pass. Good move, Bouchard. Drop for McDavid. Off the half spin near the left circle. High slot. McDavid, wrister. This one blocked, but another example of his speed. He makes it look so effortless. This one kept in now. Broberg. This will bounce. Florida's got it. Stenlund off the long flip. High glass. And this will be sent in. Is this iced again? My goodness.
Oh, you wonder how many of those icings they're going to take. You want to keep your guys cycling around between them and the benches, and now you can't even change. The same guys that were on the ice for the last icing are going to stay out there for the next one. As McDavid is taking a break for this moment, you'd wonder who's going to get their reps here for the Oilers on this next offensive possession.
Yeah, and that's big because, as you just alluded to, Okposo, Lorentz, Stenlund, Kulikov, Ekman, Larson, all about $150 of ice. It's been a long shift, and you can't change off the ice. They need to get this, make the right play. This one will bounce to Edmonton. They got to make a quick change as Draisaitl now can send this one in. And now we get another whistle as Adam Henrique got hit a little bit. 10:40 left to go in the second. One of the Panthers, Aaron Ekblad's perturbed about something.
Yeah, and we may have noticed this earlier, but I haven't said it now. Eetu Luostarinen is back onto the ice, which is a good sign.
Yes, it is, and thank you for letting me know that because I forgot to call his name, I think, one of the times during the play-by-play, but it is a good sign. You're wondering what is ailing him and how serious it is. Yes, as we're in the Stanley Cup Finals, we're not going to be able to get privy to that information. But if we do get any updates passed along by Emily Kaplan, we'll definitely get you that on this one. So Alec and I, in between the YouTube space, the Twitter side, Twitch side, are happy to have you here with us. I wish I could tell you there was more flow into this second game. This one does feel more like a Stanley Cup Finals playoff game. This is all defense all the time right now. And I think your guess is as good as mine as who is going to get the next goal here, because this next goal either makes it 2-0 or 1-1, and that might be the most important one in this game. I still don't know if 1-0 is going to hold, but as the minutes continue to tick away here, Alec, it might.
I think it's going to end in either 2-0 or 2-1. Perhaps with 2-1 most likely being overtime. I think that's how I see it the rest of the way, knowing how good the Oilers have been defensively and how the Panthers have been pressing on the forecheck. To feel a 2-1 overtime may be more likely by this point.
I think that's fair. And what Alec and I are generally telling you there is, yeah, the game one scoreline was 3-0. It could have been 5-4 if not for the goaltending. This is definitely going to be a game that's more defense, more of a slugfest. That's where I'm leaning to. We'll see if we do get overtime. Maybe that'll percolate some of these offenses going forward. There hasn't been a lot of that. As Emily Kaplan is interviewing Paul Maurice, who is always good for a quote. So I'm a little bit jealous to not be able to hear that as much. But again, Paul Maurice does not sugarcoat anything.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't mince words on his quotes. He does more of these instant classic quotes for Paul Maurice, knowing that he's good at having a sense of humor around.
That's what you want to have. I think you got someone that has buy-in, tells you the truth, have a sense of humor, carry it all the way around. That's a check mark box all the way for me for Paul Maurice, one of the best. John Cooper and Paul Maurice, that's definitely 1A, 1B. This one bounces in, and this will be picked up by Florida. What can they do now? Lundell, here's a drop, scores! Florida right off the rush, and they finally answer! I will say this because I mentioned it a little bit during the color side with you, Alec, but Mikula, I think he almost tried to clear it, almost put it in Bobrovsky on the other side off his spin pass. He pressed the L2 button too many times. But Anton Lundell, he's the one that led the charge yet again. He's had a pretty good game, too.
He has. Leading the way as a spin-a-rama that was almost disaster for Bobrovsky, but a nice drop by Lundell to find Mikula, and Stuart Skinner was a bit late to the reaction. Fit it right between the glove and the left pad, and it made it even. Vladimir Tarasenko, secondary assist.
Good for him because, again, he's been noticeable. That third line has been their best line. This is a chance down near the left side. Slow up Holloway. Lost it. The Panthers now, again, -3 in that first period, plus 22 the rest of the game. We mention that all the time, especially through the Stanley Cup preview show. If you're able to join in on all of that, and the information will still come across as it gets updated. This one's sent in now. Kachuk, try to be the first to get to it. Now the hitting will start to pick up a little bit. This is going to give Florida some energy. And a slapper that goes just wide near the right post. Florida's pulse has been elevated. We're seeing it now. 15-5 on the shot board. It is even as this one for a Nico Mikula goal alongside Lundell and Tarasenko. 9:24 left to go in this second. John Ott with you alongside Alec Nava. I don't think Bobrovsky tracked that puck well, but it bounced near the left side of his post. And now Florida will find it. Here's an outstretched pass. This will bounce all the way to Skinner, who will slow it down. And now in behind the cage is Reinhart. Goes up and out of play. 9:08 left in the middle frame.
That jumping Gustav Forsling almost made it in, and the fans thought it was going to be such the case. In 9:08 left in the second period, Mikula getting onto the board, and the fans who saw him play in St. Louis may be smiling a bit, knowing that it's both him and Tarasenko getting involved, two former Blues on the board.
I want to tell you this. Off that Lundell puck, we got a great look from the ESPN camera crew. I'm telling you, it's like when you play quarters and sometimes you flip it in the bottle.
That thing was standing straight up, was not moving, and Mikkola still able to one time that thing get it all and blow it past Stuart Skinner. That was not easy. He made it look so.
Yeah, it was not. You had to time it perfectly on those one-time passes to level it up and get the drive through. It's never easy getting a one-time shot through because you have to time it perfectly, because one bad misstep could lead to it either going wide or you having yourself fan on the shot, maybe even getting your stick broken.
Getting your stick broken and the play go the other way. There's a lot of things that could happen there, but a puck that was facing up, slam home by Niko Mikkola. So it ties the game 1-1. So again, a couple of goal calls for both of us here. Matthias Ekholm for McDavid and Bouchard. Niko Mikkola, 9:34 of the second, answers Ekholm's goal in the first from Lindell Tarasenko. Sergei Bobrovsky, just 4 out of 5, hasn't had a lot to do. What should not be lost in all this, again, I say a game that hasn't had a lot of flow. I guess I can't say that to Stuart Skinner. 15 out of 16, he's been the busier netminder.
He has. He's answered every question thus far. After game one, he's getting the doubts off of his head, and for his ability to bounce back in games, I think he's done a good job in bouncing back. Those 2 goals that he allowed in game one, you can say those were not his fault, because it's fast break opportunities in which the Panthers they were generating, and the defense was caught, and that led to Cody Ceci getting the healthy scratch. So far, it's been a good game for Skinner this far, minus that 1 goal, but outside that, he's keeping his cool.
Yeah, I think you have to. Again, Florida, I'm not going to say that this was it's been their best attack of these 2 games, because in game 1 there wasn't a lot of that. But I think that they can still play better. I think that Edmonton will play better when you get into the game 3 side back at Rogers. But all that remains right now is for Edmonton to even up this series. If they don't, again, we'll talk about all those other narratives in our post-game talk. And I don't think it's going to be all rosy for Edmonton if they're down 0-2, as this was just tied up from Mikkola. Now off the spin and turn, Kulak with a hold. Barkov out there, that top line. You got Broberg, you got Carrick. So top line against line 4. Who's got the advantage here? You know who should, as Florida has got this puck possession. It's Verhaeghe off the spin. Carrick not letting him go anywhere. Verhaeghe still with it, though, not giving up on the play. Falling down, trying to get it across, but Brodeur gets the steal. Philip Brodeur getting some more time in the postseason. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think he's been pretty decent, as this is now. Off the backhand, 2-on-1. Tkachuk, step through, shot. Oh, good stop by Skinner, loose. Here's a setup. Fake the slapper. They took too long to shoot it. My goodness, Florida. That was 5 seconds too late, as this is now Rodrigues. This will be sent in. Another chance off the rush. Here's traffic toward the net. Bennett with Tkachuk, 9-19. That's grit and sandpaper and speed. But man, oh man, I feel like Florida should have scored there. Chance now off the spin. It's Draisaitl. Here's a slapper. Good save, Bob. Rebounds loose. And now Bennett will slow it down. Here's a long flip. Race for the puck now for Eetu Luostarinen. Again, good to see him back on the ice, as Alec mentioned. Holloway, full flight. What a steal for Luostarinen. The finished product getting the job done. If he was hurt, you couldn't tell there on that back check. Forsling now. Luostarinen, as he's getting some more time. This one sent in too far for Lindell. Gustav Forsling. Thought about the slap shot across the kick plate. It's Tarasenko. He gets sandwiched by R&H. Hyman, it's a late camera cut. It was stopped by Bobrovsky. Now Bouchard near the right circle, as this game is starting to finally pick up a little bit. It only took the 6:40 left to go in the second. Ekholm, here's a pick. Now near the left side, Florida steals. 3-on-2. Tarasenko wide open, but the pass gets cut off by Ekholm. Good defense there. Now an opportunity. Good slow up. I thought that was almost a knee-to-knee. McDavid gets back up. Ekholm off the rush. It's RNH. McDavid, half spin. Now Bouchard, high slot. This will go D-to-D. Here's a move for Draisaitl across the wall. Back to Bouchard now. McDavid, play crisscross. Evans got it. Now to Connor. Connor, spin again near the left dot. He's been doing that a lot. And a delayed penalty against the Panthers.
That was the case when McDavid got slowed up. I think it was a trip. Did Verhaeghe get a stick or a leg right on McDavid? I think he did. But either way, it's going to be Verhaeghe due for tripping, as we have a disagreement between Ekblad and McDavid on the way. So they have to be separated beforehand. But I think Verhaeghe's going to go to the box to serve 2 for tripping.
Yes, he is. That was a good call by you in real time. I was trying to see. I thought that was, when I called, I thought a knee on knee, but yep, a trip there. And easy opportunity as Verhaeghe off the clip for Connor McDavid. Again, he got clipped like that in game 1, and then as he was going to the bench, Bennett able to finish off a hit. So Connor McDavid, problems matching up with his speed, and honestly, nobody matches up with his speed.
Nobody. Not even against McDavid, because speed can always kill. Say that up again with McKinnon, Barzal, and all of the fastest skaters on the ice. We can throw him a car if we're talking about speedy defensemen.
No doubt about it. Edmonton on the ice, RNH, McDavid, Hyman, Bouchard, Draisaitl. This is kept in by Bouchard. This is slammed toward Connor McDavid, and now Florida able to find it. It took Gustav Forsling an extra second to pick that one up. Edmonton wants a clear over the glass. I don't know if they're going to get it, though.
Was this behind the red line? I think it was. They're going to see is look to see if this was from behind the blue line. But do remember, if such a play happens and it was cleared from behind the blue line, they're going to come together to discuss to see if this was from behind the blue line. So the officials are going to deliberate to see what this was. Stanley skates were behind the blue line. So with that in mind, did this go over the glass? The Oilers are seeing it, are alleging that it did. But in such a case, if it did go over the glass, that's the way of game. If not, we stay 5-on-4.
Yeah, if it goes over and it doesn't go into the players' bench, then we got some problems here. Edmonton might get their call. Paul Maurice, again, I think he's getting his clarification. He doesn't look too animated. Kris Knoblauch just waiting here to see what the deliberation is going to be. As Alec mentioned, you got Stenland. I see it now with RNH. That one goes clear, then it's going to be one because RNH does not touch this.
He did not touch it. The officials are looking to clarify things with Maurice and Knoblauch. So as they say, it went to the benches. We stay 5-on-4.
Wow, that was pretty close, to be honest with you. Maybe even crossing a little bit more, that probably wouldn't have. But 14 of 30 on the power play since 5 of 26. You mentioned Florida is elite. Hyman, Draisaitl, Bouchard. Can they score a go-ahead goal here on the power play? Edmonton's good at this. Bouchard, ripper off the 1T. This will bounce out of play and stay an offensive zone draw for the Oilers.
Amerant off the pipe for the Oilers. They've started electric on the power play. Sort of cooled off in the last 26 opportunities. The last 26 opportunities, they scored 5 power play goals, but nonetheless, it's a power play that can strike fear into anyone's eyes. Even the best penalty kills, they usually tremble when facing up against a high-powered power play like the Oilers. That one rang the post, and that's Bobrovsky's best friend.
You're absolutely right, Alec. Near the right side of the bar. I actually missed that one. Thank you for that. Is RNH. We'll get it. Near the right side dot. It's Bouchard high slot. Back to RNH, right circle. Draisaitl one-timer. Bobrovsky. We've mentioned this. That's what we did in the opener. Any sort of brush of contact, even with the puck, it's going to send him falling to the seat of his pants, but he's got it.
Oh, bad penalty. And so far, so good as all Miami Fort Lauderdale celebrates that save. He was losing his balance there. That was ridiculous from him.
Yeah, he able to trap that one underneath his right armpit as he was falling down. No rebound. That's unfortunate there for Edmonton as he was falling against the post, too. He almost hit his head last time he was falling back. But if Hyman was there and there was a rebound, that would have easily been a goal for Edmonton, but nothing doing there. Here's another defensive zone draw. Draisaitl going to try to go ahead and win this offensively. This bounces over Lindell, and this will be an opportunity for RNH to pick it up. He'll send it in. Draisaitl trying to find a no-look pass to McDavid. Good glove hand. This will be a 2-on-2. Mikula now in off the rush as it's Lindell, but he'll peel back smartly. 35 seconds thereabouts left to go on the Edmonton power play. John Ott with you alongside Alec Nava. Connor McDavid. He's got it off the half spin. Now Bouchard with the entry. McDavid still driving.
He loves to spin near that left circle and survey. He's been doing that a lot. McDavid, extra pass, RNH. Somehow that doesn't connect on a stick on the other side. As McDavid, he's got it. RNH now left circle. Bouchard high slot. Back to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. McDavid, RNH, Bouchard, fake the slapper. Draisaitl right circle. Bouchard, ripper, deflecting puck. This one bounces. Lundell can't get it out. RNH, this hits the post. Top left bar. Now fired at the net again. Bobrovsky was in the butterfly. Florida clears. Man, oh man. Ricardo Verhaeghe out of the box. 1-on-3. He's buying time. Verhaeghe off the back pass. One-timer, big save for Skinner. It was a giant rebound. We get a stoppage 340. Are we getting a penalty for slashing against Edmonton?
It seems, but that looked like, once again, a fire drill over the Florida zone. They're getting surrounded left and right. It's a slashing penalty going to rule it as Chris Rooney made the call. But that was so close. They had two close calls as Bouchard's going to the box, too, for slashing. And nonetheless, two shots that hit the post for the Oilers. An opportunity to go up 2-1 in this, two close calls.
And here's the thing for Bouchard. I believe that's his second penalty. It's a little bit of a, window service slash there. But again, it's 1-on-3, and Verhaeghe's trying to kill time. There's no reason to take a penalty there because there's no way that Florida's going to score.
No, there's no reason to because you have Verhaeghe who was all alone waiting for some help.
Right.
There was no reason for that slash. He was waiting for help, perhaps get both Bennett and Kachuk back onto the ice for this possession. He was just all alone, waiting for his help. You got to let it be. Pin it towards the wall for the moment and try to play illegal defensive plays like pinning him towards the wall. Do not have it obvious enough that you're trying to hold him towards the wall, but vicious grasp. But no, don't do that.
So Bobrovsky, again, would have had to make more saves if not for a couple posts. As Alec called, 6 of 7. He definitely helped me on one of those because I missed it. But 6 of 7 for Bobrovsky, 18 of 19 for Stuart Skinner. Skinner's been the busier netminder. Bobrovsky probably got a little fortunate. A couple of those power play opportunities for Edmonton looked quite dangerous. And again, Bouchard was the one that was keying bombs in from the point. And now Bouchard with his second penalty. No more penalties for Evan Bouchard. He is way too important for this Edmonton Oilers attack. As we take a look now at the distance traveled, again, 2,541 miles. Sunrise, Florida to Edmonton, Alberta. Be a lot of red eyes.
There'll be a lot of that between the jet lag or the fatigue. Who knows if that's going to play into both of them.
We'll have to figure that out on Thursday. Again, all this is about 8:15 Eastern, so we'll join you roughly between 8:05 and 8:10 on that end to give you some pregame on Thursday again. On Saturday, expected to be joined by Cooper Hopkins in her first ever Stanley Cup Finals trio broadcast, but I'm glad that Alec's been here with me as the mainstay to be able to start this for the first three games because it's his first foray in the Stanley Cup Finals with me. He's done so much heavy lifting. And it's been so awesome to have him. Glad to get a chance to get this done because this should be a good series. 33 straight, 51 of 54, about 94.4%. Brandon Montour, Verhaeghe. This is an opportunity now for Carter, who just drew one. He's got to make his back pass. This is going to be a race for the puck, and this is not a very good giveaway here for Florida. Now this is between the right circle. Janmark now. Here is Brodeur with a slapper. This is just going to consecutively kill more time. That's not what Florida wants. I don't think Florida's power play has been very good in this game. I'm definitely going to mention it in the story. A lot of slow breakouts, some giveaways. As Kachuk now turns it over, they just don't look very confident. And I don't want to say that the Edmonton numbers are bleeding into their head. I think if they just move the puck better and play their game, they're going to be okay. But you got to be able to actually get in the zone and get chances first. As it's Evan Rodrigues. They can make it all right now, though. Tarasenko, he's had a very strong game, and that was right off the rush from Skinner, but he's got it.
The most common mistake for power plays is that you're being too passive, one on the man advantage. You have to look for shooting lanes and don't be too cute when trying to spy a shooting lane. I feel the Panthers, you made a good point, that they don't look all forecheck. You can't sit back and relax.
No, you can't. Again, you don't want the also bleeding your heads because Florida's too good for that. So I'm glad they agree on those points because right in lockstep. It's power play line number 2. Lindell's going to spearhead it. Rodrigues! Bennett! Oh, good stop, Skinner!
I'm about to get it right now with wow! Stuart Skinner jumped right in front and robbed Sam Bennett of what would have been a surefire goal if they were to make it a 2-1 game for the Panthers. The Oilers nearly made it 2-1. 2 shots hit the pipe. Rodrigues almost returned the favor.
Yes.
Game 1 to Sam Bennett. These two are playing it up, but Stuart Skinner cooled it up, put them on an ice bath.
You said that perfectly, Alec, because I was just going to take those words out of your mouth. A complete reversal there from Rodrigues Bennett. This time Bennett, he just gets robbed, though, by Stuart Skinner. His best save of the game. Florida could have made it 2-1. 2:10 left to go in this second. It's a 1-1 game. As this one sent in Lindell now off his backhand, being an opportunity for Edmonton to get this one out. Tarasenko will slow it down. I think Paul Maurice is going to have a lot more confidence in the power play line number 2 if they can continue to manufacture some of these chances. They look better at everyone else as this one sent in. Again, you just got to have leeway here and find a way to get a goal. That's all that matters here at this point if you're one of these two teams. As it's a 1-1 tie, 1:35 left to go in the second. This one flipped in off the left side boards. Now Ekholm slows it down. 34 straight is now it's 94.5%. Absolutely unreal. That is going to break the numbers of the Red Wings, and I think there was one other team that was also marked in there as well. If this continues, as Verhaeghe will send this one down for Reinhart. This one bounced. Flipping puck goes out of play. No worries there for any penalties, but 1:16 left in the second.
It's to buck it out on the last one, but 34 straight penalties killed is almost unheard of. You take a look at some of the draft picks that are here in attendance. We briefly saw Macklin Celebrini over at Rogers Place over the Pacific Northwest, or I meant Rogers Arena over the Pacific Northwest. Now he's over at the Miami-Fort Lauderdale area with Artem Levchinov and all the other draft picks.
And I saw on the NHL Network side before this game started out, Levchinov from the Michigan State Spartans is projected number 3. That blew my mind. We know how good he was, but that would be a thrill for him as this one goes out play.
The Chicago Blackhawks, I saw from a report that there may be intent on picking up number 2 to build around on the defensive core with Kevin Korchinski and Alex Vlasic, which I think may make sense. You were to get a Korchinski Levchinov pairing down for the line, but either way, whoever gets Levchinov is going to get a gem defensively.
Yeah, he can kind of do everything. He's a big man. We know Macklin Celebrini is going to go number 1, but Levchinov either 2 or 3. That is gigantic. If that goes the other way, yet another icing, 53 seconds. There'll be a lot to talk about as we move forward in here. Again, I think the way the NHL has also done the award structure, normally within the next couple of games, we'll be able to break down all the awards, but they've been kind of doing this for the next few days across, and I can't have that full conversation with you yet as I would have liked to.
Who's going to get who and who's going to get what award? Well, we do know what award who has been delivered. Jim Nill, General Manager of the Year, for the second straight year.
That's a good one for the Dallas Stars. I would completely agree with that. Bouchard Ripper. This one blocked. Who's going to get it? It's Verhaeghe off the spin. He's trying to buy some time again. I think Bouchard's going to learn his lesson and back off as it's 35 seconds. Bouchard, he can't clear it. Florida steals. Sets it up now for Reinhart, but he lost it in between his skates. Sam trying to get it now. Verhaeghe makes a play. Barkov, wrister. This one goes off the arm and goes up and out of play. 24 seconds thereabouts left.
Whoever scores on the power play here from either side and the Stanley Cup final is going to have to earn it, considering both penalty kills have been elite at their job. The Oilers killing out 34 straight and the Panthers on a similar hot run as well on the PK.
It's amazing that the penalty kills have been so good. I mean, I wish we could go through a time machine, Alec, to see some of the best play each other and see what happens in between these penalty kills. But you got to give them credit. They've been more than rock solid. They've been exemplary here as it's 24 seconds left to go.
Evan Rodrigues, again, you can mix in between Bennett if you want to, but Rodrigues is taking the bulk of the center work. Now try to find for Tkachuk near the right side wall. This could be Edmonton one more chance. Janmark another whistle, so they do not want us to end this second period yet.
Apparently they don't. They just want to have us continue on with the coverage of the extension of the Battle of Alberta.
So we'll look one more time. I think McDavid is going to be able to just take a rest the rest of the way. Vander Kane, again, 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points, brought his name up a couple of times. When is he going to play a key role in this series? And not just with fisticuffs. I haven't even really called his name much. 10 seconds left to go. As this is picked up by Florida. Mikkola off the rush, fired in. Nothing should come of this, though, as this is down to a second. So it was 1 goal for Edmonton in the first, 1 goal for Florida. Montour, McLeod get a couple late cross checks. Brandon Montour says, hey, about that, I'm going to get angry if you do that much more. But records after 2, Edmonton's 0-4 in the postseason. Florida's 4-1. So however you think that's going to lean, that's the way we'll go. But we're tied after 40 minutes.
The field is placed over to Florida's favor here, Alan. They're tied after 2. Now, the third period's been their bread and butter. The Oilers, it's been a mixed bag of all sorts, and they're tied after 2, or heading into the third period. Because the third period, you can argue that's the Oilers' weakest period, and you can say, without a doubt, that's the Panthers' strongest period, heading into the third.
So Florida, I think now I can say this through 40 minutes. I thought the counterattack was good in the first 20 I mentioned alongside Edmonton. Now that the first 40, I kind of feel like Edmonton's effort level and energy, they expended a little bit more, and Florida still pushed them back. So as you mentioned within this third, is this going to be the same thing? Are they going to find a way to take it here? Because there's some good feelings. Edmonton's still in this game. They got a chance, but they've got to be able to press. They got to find a way in this third, because if Florida takes a 2-0 lead in this series, you and I talk about it from game 1 a little bit, but if they take a 2-0 lead in this series, I think at worst, Florida comes back to Amerant break up 3-1. So this really is about as must-win as you can get for Edmonton. Find a way in the third period, honestly. If I had answers for you, I'd be getting paid to be working for NHL and Sportsnet. I don't know how they're going to do it. Maybe they'll have to go back to double shifting a little bit for McDavid and Draisaitl, but they got to find a way to punch through, because if there's any more pressure, and I'll just give you the numbers here real quick before I throw it back to you, but in the sense of these team stats, let me make sure I click on the right box, 22-7. Florida might end up with maybe 36, 37 shots. Maybe Edmonton gets 12 or 13 the way that this is going. Stuart Skinner is not going to be able to hold the whole night.
The way that it's going, he's getting left out to dry on most occasions, needing the help that he's been asking for. He's got 1 goal for his guys, with Matthias Ekholm getting it, McDavid and Bouchard the assists. But 1 goal, of course, it's not going to cut it against this Panthers attack, especially in the third period, where the Panthers are known to capitalize on their chances in the third period. Strike back, start double shifting your top guys. That means McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman have to get more ice time than usual on most occasions. So you have to point out, you mentioned about the NHL Network part.
Yeah.
You wonder if Bruce Brodeur may be already making that point.
Yeah, because again, you wanted to make sure that you managed it as much as possible. And we talked about it. I'll give you the numbers here. 1545 TOI for Draisaitl, about 1639. You would think, as long as this game is not tied going into the third period, that puts them roughly, maybe McDavid, close to 25 minutes. That is the upper mark of where you would want him to be. Maybe Draisaitl about 24-30 in the way for the rest of it. So they're going to get double shifted from the way that this is going. So it's a great point to you. That's why we mention it here. And I just want to throw this out there, conjecture on my part, but Bouchard, 1933, again, we knew he was going to lead it all. He does have an assist, and he is +1. He's got a shot, but he does have 4 penalty minutes as well. Do you think Bouchard is playing his best game?
Well, if you look at the penalty minutes, you can point to that and look at the discipline factor that should play in for this game. 2 penalties is not going to do wonders for your ice time minutes on normal occasions. But because he's been getting double shifted, and perhaps it's a necessity knowing that he is their best offensive defenseman on the team, 4 penalty minutes usually would not bode well. And to have him off the ice on shorthanded situations and even 4-on-4 situations, if there's a 4-on-4 and Bouchard's not on the ice because he's in the box, that may put us at a disadvantage.
Yeah, we think eventually that it's going to. To be fair on my part, I will give him credit. A couple posts there on some chances. So not bad, but clean those up as we mentioned. I know we mentioned Tkachuk before. He does have 4 shots in this game, which leads all the Florida Panthers there. So he's trying to make the impact. He's got 3 hits, a tripping penalty, 13-11 TOI. And again, just to reset you here for the team stats and everything else before we go into our intermission, I'll throw it to Alec for the first 10 minutes of the third when we get there. Shots are 22-7. Hits now even at 26 apiece. I mean, from the game 1 side from where we were close to about 75. We're not there right now. Faceoffs are 26-23 for Florida. Power play opportunities, there has been a lot of them. 7 combined, 4 for Florida, 3 for Edmonton. Penalty kill, we mentioned a lead on both sides, well over 90% in the series. They haven't converted anything against, so it'll be 100%, but in totality, 0 for 7 combined. Florida 0 for 4, 0 for 3 for Edmonton. You have block shots, 12-11. Florida have that advantage. Giveaways, there's been a lot of them, and maybe that tells you why the game's been a little bit sloppy, although the second period picked up 13-12. The Cats lead giveaways there. That is not what you want. And then one last thing, and I will shut up here. Matthias Ekholm, his 5th from Connor McDavid and Bouchard at 11-17 in the first. That answered Nico Mikkola from Anton Lundell and Vlad Tarasenko, 9:34 of the second. It's 1-1 after 2. Bobrovsky just 6 of 7. Stuart Skinner 21 of 22. Do you have any prevailing thoughts as we get into this second intermission?
In terms of injuries here, we saw Eetu Luostarinen and Amerant come back onto the ice, but we have not seen Darnell Nurse since the first period. He's played just 2 minutes and 46 seconds of ice time. I'm not sure if it's an injury that he's dealing with or is a benching by Kris Knoblauch. The other thing I want to point out, the Oilers have been rather ho-hum on Evander Kane's injury, but he did say that it may be a sports hernia of some kind. Okay. I think there could be a reason why he's slowed down, not at 100%, but either way, we have not seen Nurse at all in the second period.
I do want to make your points in order here for Darnell Nurse. Again, a little bit early on the side, and when they showed the camera shot, admittedly, Alec, I didn't see anything that made me believe that Nurse was going to be affected any sort of seriously, but he is. Again, if he's not on the ice, that's one of the guys that the Edmonton Oilers will count on because they're going to be rotating 5 defensemen or an extra forward there, whatever they're going to do. That's going to be a problem. But the sports hernia thing is news to me for Evander Kane, and that's, I think, well said, because as he's sitting with 4 goals and 4 assists, I'm not going to sit here and say that Evander Kane's going to have to light up the scoreboard, but I think in any sort of standard playoff year, considering Zach Hyman's got, 14? I think Evander Kane would have probably, if he was completely healthy, maybe 9 or 10 at this point.
Usually you would see him explode the score sheet for either that amount of goals and be second to Hyman in terms of goal scoring and forming that connection with Draisaitl on that second line. You'll usually see him between Draisaitl and Holloway in terms of line rushes and have Draisaitl set up Kane on some goal scoring opportunities. Say, if you remember, he had a natural hat trick in Game 3 against Calgary in the Battle of Alberta just 2 years ago. You don't need to. We're not expecting him to get back into the form, but if he was 100%, you would believe he would be at double digits in goal scoring by now.
Yeah, and you would think if he was 100% right now that the Edmonton Oilers, the way that this series has gone, he probably already would have found a way on a score sheet and given Edmonton a legitimate chance to win the Stanley Cup. He really is that impactful. Again, you can throw him on a bottom 6 line, and I think that's an embarrassment of riches, the forwards that they have. But it also says, and I don't know if I can say Ken Holland, but I have to throw that in there begrudgingly, but this team
is pretty well balanced, honestly, for the forward side and between the bottom six. And the Edmonton Oilers, I think, have done a good job. I don't know how deep I can say that they are, but I think the names play well and they fit in this team.
Yeah, it fits. Though not having Warren Fogle for the rest of this game is going to hurt them a bit.
And we'll see, as you mentioned, if there's going to be any sort of action from the disciplinary committee, because if he does get suspended, that's going to put a damper on things. Again, you can move back in between Corey Perry. Reason why Corey Perry's not playing, though, in this game is because some of those penalties from game one side and some of the things from previous, that's not going to get you ice time. So they're not going to lean toward him. But as Alec mentioned, probably see Derek Ryan. I've seen him play some meaningful minutes. They will miss Fogle and his speed. Hopefully for Edmonton, he's not dealing with a lengthy suspension, because I don't think they can afford to miss too many guys in the bottom six.
No, you can't afford to have him lost for several games. Not even when you have him play like that. Remember when the Blues, they won it all. They had to deal with suspensions to Ivan Barbashev and Oscar Sundqvist on the bottom line. The Blues still went on to win the Stanley Cup in spite of the suspensions from Barbashev and Sundqvist. Granted, it was warranted, the suspensions, but either way, you have to have your next man up rise to the occasion.
You know what's interesting, when you brought up the name of Barbashev, and I'm thinking about that, the suspension is still winning, and how good St. Louis was in that year from January to the worst to first. Can you imagine what would have happened last year if Barbashev was suspended for the Vegas Golden Knights and Florida was healthy? That would be devastating. He was so good last year.
Yeah, it would be devastating knowing that Barbashev evolved from fourth liner who was bouncing between NHL and AHL into a key contributor and top goal scorer with the Golden Knights and the Blues over the last 3 years combined. He's risen that up quickly onto the ranks, whether it be him jumping onto the line with Brady Shen and Jordan Kyrou, to landing on the first line with Jack Eichel and Jonathan Marchessault. So he has turned things around. But if he got suspended because of a dirty play, that would be brutal news for the Knights.
Yeah, again, he was that impactful. We talk about it. It's kind of crazy, and I had to bring that up because, as Alec mentioned, it's just that's how good he was. And we'll continue to follow along. I didn't see any other news alongside Gary Bettman today, but I did mention that Markstrom is on the move, possibly again for the Flames as they reopen the trade talks. And I know the Leafs always want to be involved with anybody. Question is, for me, if they were able to get Markstrom, that might kind of talk about a trade there for Mitch Marner. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it is kind of funny to think about. Would the Toronto Maple Leafs want to do any sort of moves when trade talks alongside Brad Treliving and the Calgary Flames? Because that would be funny. And the one thing that I had to laugh, because it was Matchsticks and Gasoline that said it, is like, how about Huberdeau, Cole Schwinn, and a first-round pick, and do the same trade again back for Mitch Marner?
Oh boy! And the only talk about the Kachuk trade is too much for that to fathom, and for a Markstrom trade to go over to Toronto and Mitch Marner going the other way, I really, realistically, don't really see it happening.
No.
If anything, I think Marner, in my opinion, he would go to Utah, perhaps. Markstrom, most likely, I think he's going to be dealt to New Jersey because because the Devils, they're the favorites to land Markstrom in a hypothetical trade. We're not sure if that's confirmed just yet, but the Devils are so far the favorites to land Markstrom.
Do you still think, again, I won't spend too much with Markstrom here, but do you still think that he is capable of being a number one goaltender? Because I think he got I want to make sure I keep my language clean. I love that picture there with Kachuk and Tatum on that same bus. That is absolutely terrific. But I still think he's capable of being a number one goaltender. Sometimes you got to have a decent defense around you.
Yeah, you have to. The Devils getting their defensive core healthy once again heading into next season. That's why you need everyone involved. Hamilton, Nemec, Luke Hughes also as well. Damon's not named seriously. He's Columbus. I also have to mention everyone else. Kevin Ball, you name another, and Jonas Siegenbar. You have a fully healthy defense. It helps your case for Jacob Markstrom. And for the Devils to be the favorite for the landing spot, it can make sense.
I think they're going to have to, because the bounce back that they want after not even making the playoffs, that is something that they're going to want to punch into. I know I only got a few more minutes before you take over the third, and then we'll kind of flip back in between the 10 minutes. If we go to OT, then you can start all that stuff out, and I think you might get your wish here. You were saying maybe 2-1. It looks like that's what it could be. I don't want to bleed too much in this point, but I feel like I have to, because it was all over social media today, all over First Take side of it. Do you got any problems with Caitlin Clark left off the Olympic team?
You have to earn your spot.
Yeah.
For 1 point, I know she is an easy pick to go onto the U.S. Olympic team, but so far she's early into her WNBA career. I think she has to wait until what I would believe next year to get into the team. You have to earn it.
I think that's so fair to say, Alec. I don't know why everybody thinks it needs to be a hot button issue. I understand the marketing aspect. I heard some of those quotes. I totally get that. But it's an honor. As a rookie, I know they talk about Christian Laettner before and this and that. Make sure that she gets some actual playing time. It's not like it was in the Olympics however many years ago when it was LeBron and Wade and Anthony, when they were having, I don't know how many years ago it was, Alec, but it was Anthony Davis pretty much catching lobs and off the bench. I don't want to do that for Caitlin Clark. If I get an opportunity to watch her play, I want to see her start or maybe have meaningful impact minutes off the bench. She's not going to get that pretty much just playing like 10 games in the WNBA. Everybody can chill out and give her a year.
Yeah, I feel it's growing pains up throughout. You need to develop your sense of chemistry and the scoring looks and the looks that you have for your teammates as well. So before you can get considered for the Olympics. Either way, it'd be nice to see A'ja Wilson, the best player in the WNBA.
Yeah. She's pretty strong all the way across the board, and the stats and everything else reflect that. I just wanted to get your thoughts because I was in complete agreement with you. I know I'm going to have to pick up my phone charger here in a minute as we will go across. It's still 1-1. Alec's going to take this first 10 minutes of the third. I will close it. If we get to OT, we'll figure that out the rest of the way. We'll be here with you for as long as this series goes. Alec Nava is going to headline first 3 games here with me. We will be back together at least on the Thursday side if I can't join into the NBA Finals Game 3. But then Saturday, expected trio broadcast. Cooper said it was going to be big as far as joining in the midpoint of the series. But this is where we are right now in this third. It's 1-1. Florida can either go up 2-0. Edmonton can respond and even up the series 1-1. They've got to find a way in the next 20 minutes or however long it takes. Even this up, get back to Edmonton, feel good on Thursday. Maybe we'll get some news here on Fogle as far as any sort of suspensions. But this is an important 20 minutes.
It is an important 20 minutes for both sides. You can say the Panthers, they can dominate this period, but this is perhaps the more important period for the Oilers if they want to come out on top and win game 2 to steal this game and get it back onto Rogers Place, tied at 1 on the series. I think this period is more important for the Oilers than it is for the Panthers.
Are you still leaning OT, Alec? Is that where you're going to go?
I think OT may be the way to go if the Oilers were to win this.
Okay, so I'm going to save it right now as far as goal predictions. I'll let you live on with these first 10 minutes. I won't pressure you into one. But maybe if it's 10 minutes past and we still don't get a goal, then maybe I will. But have fun with it. I have some thoughts in mind. No, I won't go with McDavid and Draisaitl. We'll leave those guys on the board. Who is going to come through? Is Edmonton going to be able to find some pressure? They had a lot of it in Game 1. There's not been a lot of it here in Game 2. What are we going to get? That's the question. But both teams combined 0 for 7 on the power play.
I'll go ahead and make my goal picks right now. I'll go Adam Henrique for Edmonton, and I'll go with Evan Rodrigues for Florida.
Okay, so you're going to go right on the board. I wasn't pressuring you into it, but I'll go ahead and mention it too. I'll throw in for
Edmonton, why not? You've been on this board a couple times. Evan Bouchard will finally get one. And what the heck? Give me Evan Rodrigues.
Like my spin and being the same. Well, here we go. Third period. Oilers on the white, Panthers on the red with the navy blue sweatpants. As this one sent him over Zach Hyman. Alec Nava, John Ott here. Third period. That good shot for Hyman. Now what the fuck did out and why? Then sent back over to Hyman to Gretzky's office. Behind the green, coming over to the left circle. Hyman forced wide. Now over to the point. Hyman long shot blocked in front in the race where the puck ensues. First to this will be Ekholm, who is watched by the hot rod. Ekholm loads up and passes down for the far side to force this with the puck inside. At the near corner, recollected by 4 feet. A good stick in the lane. Air from CMD. Sent across over to the recent goal scorer Nico Mikwa and down deep. Baseball batted forward by Kachuk. First back is Philip Brodeur. Bennett tried to retrieve. Down goes Brodeur. He lost his stick in the process. Rick going to by Kachuk over Broberg's stick, who pins him towards the wall. Rick David recollects, and the neutral slided over up front for Brett Kulak. Kulak walks his through to the top of the left circle. Bobrovsky turned away. At the far corner, on tour, closed off. Oilers hold. Right around, behind the net was Henrique. Over to Desharnais. Send one back over to Draisaitl. Leon Draisaitl sets up a one-timer. Good block there. Bouncing puck in the front. Henrique tried to drop it through. Can't do it. Carter Verhaeghe moved it around Kulak, who recollect. Brett Kulak was here in the Stanley Cup final 3 years ago as a member of the Montreal Canadiens going up against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So he was playing for the Canadian team once again. He is playing for a Canadian team. Just this time, it's over the western side. Flipped it deep, and this will go to the trapezoid, recollected by Kulikov. Lost it, but helped out by Lundell. Now goes one of the Panthers. Moved on back by Edmonton, right behind Bobrovsky's cage. OEL tied up by Janmark. Janmark tried to pry it free. Lundell recollected this one, but picked apart by Carrot. Got bumped. All the way tried to hold. Lundell back with this. Here is Kulikov. Kulikov's being down the near side. Tried to go past Desharnais. Desharnais said no. And then gets sandwiched towards the wall by Tarasenko. Still free over the near half boards. Lundell, good hold on it. But can't speed up Sam Carrot as he dispossessed them. Bench or white, a penalty here. We stay 5 on 5. This goes down deep. And this will go back over to Mikula. Mikula on the hole, right in front of Bobrovsky. Trying to lead the rush over to the near side. Past Stenlund. Bouchard on the hole. Can't do it. But now up for McLeod. Good hold there by the Panthers, but this ball's back on to Ryan McLeod. Stenlund in pursuit. He broke his stick. He'll try and go for a new one. On a cross. To the near side of the sin bin. Connor Brown. Pickpocketed by Kachuk. Good hold by Bouchard, but intercepted by Montour. Lead the way over to Barkov. Lawrence over to the far corner where this dump it went. Barkov dispossessed Okposo, body his man Kane up. Oilers are over that. Can't get it out. It's a good hold by the Panthers. To the far side, Okposo. Okposo around for the boards. Erod from the left circle. Trying to set one off. The Oilers are there. Intercepted. Rodrigues. Hogan scores! The hot run! The Panthers on top! He is flaming hot!
Evan Rodrigues. You know what? Honestly, Alec, he's becoming a favorite of mine. Can I just say it? What a shot that was. There was not a lot of space in between that top left and the mesh. No problem for Erod. He gets the job done.
Oh, proud of this fella. But where he has come up with from Pittsburgh onto Colorado and now in Florida where he is driving at another go-ahead goal, his second goal of the finals as he banks it in, left circle on the intercept. What the heck was that from Matthias Ekholm? You don't see that often.
No, you don't. And again, you think about it between Pittsburgh. What about the Colorado Avalanche? They definitely miss him.
Oh, yeah. That 1 year they spent last year, they're wearing the number 9. This one down deep. Race for the puck will go wide of Bobrovsky. Photo finish at the line. Gustav Forsling by a nose hair. Icing.
I gotta ask it now. I didn't think I was going to do so soon. Are the Edmonton Oilers in trouble in Game 2?
Well, if they keep playing like this, they may be. Because you don't want to give up more shots like this. You don't want to turn it over like this.
No. Shot board now reads 23-9 as Evan Rodrigues is giving Florida the lead. Alec, take it away.
Now this face-off win by Barkov moved around over to Rodrigues, who's bumped up over at the top line with Barkov. So they're trying to shake up the chemistry. Paul Maurice using those line changes, those to advantage. Set up pass for the far side. Connor McDavid slid it up for Hyman. The pass here for him. Tie up there. Barkov got away. Back in the point. Brodeur sends it over to the near corner. Hyman on the tie-up. Back behind it as McDavid from Gretzky's office. Looks to set up around Ekblad. Shake him free. McDavid, far corner. Left circle. Looks to pass it over for the point. Red Clark. One shot. And this rebound fell over to Rodrigues. Who cleared it out. So he's impacting the game. Not only the offensive side, but also the defensive side. Hyman tried to skate back in. Fresh bodies on the ice. As his poked free by what I believe was Forsling. And Nico was looking to go off for a change. Carter Verhaeghe. Bump. This will fall into Draisaitl. Ekholm now. He had a giveaway after having the first goal of this game. Spun this one around over to Henrique. Bobrovsky pointed out over to Mikla. Turnover. This is Draisaitl. On the hold. Desharnais. Walk shot in the point. Block out in front. Bouncing puck over to Bennett. Sam Bennett. Center one across over to the left side for Tkachuk. Now Tkachuk tied up on the shot. This ball's over to Edmonton. Up forward. This goes over to Henrique. Who holds it. Adam Henrique. Bouncing puck up forward. Off of Montour. Bennett holds it. And this one's chopped forward. This is loose up front. Way past Draisaitl. Puck still alive. Intercepted by Verhaeghe as he tried to go for Holloway. Draisaitl tried to pick his pocket. Holloway on the hold. For the near half boards. Back to the place, Bouchard. On across for Ekholm. They're double shifting these two. It's just something here. But a necessity here knowing the situation that they're in. Forward clears. And Ekholm start up again. Up for Bouchard. Evan Bouchard lead the way. Foot race. Edgar Larson beating out Carrick. Carrick leveling his man. Tie up behind that. Carrick. All leveled out by OEL. Back to the left point for a quick shot. Blocked in front. Brodeur can't hold it. This goes back for Bouchard. Ekholm off Bouchard on. But Brodeur on the defense. Evan Bouchard. Still no sign of Darno Nurse in this game. He left in the first period. Connor Brown leads the way on the fourth line side. To the left. Spinning and turning is McDavid. McDavid back to the point. Brodeur loads up. This finds over Bobrovsky. Went over wide to that. Yamar coded in. Still on him by Kulak. The long shot. No rebound as Bobrovsky left no prisoner behind.
So good to see on that scrum a little bit that McDavid's keeping his cool. You want to make sure that you do that. Draisaitl and McDavid got a lead by example here. We talked about the double shift. I know you called that there. Probably going to see that a little bit more as Edmonton, as this game goes along, will get just a little bit more desperate. But 14-11 left to go in the third.
And Big Bob maintaining his crease with the Oilers on the heavy counter as they're blitzing him on these recent shots. But Brent Kulak, this takes a bounce off the skate of Anton Lundell and right onto Bobrovsky.
That was kind of interesting, Alec, because again, we saw in the first period, Nico Mikkola almost spun and turned it into his own net and then got a goal.
Oh, and Mikkola on a one-time drop pass from Anton Lundell. That was the tying goal. Rodrigues off a bad turnover by Matthias Ekholm. You don't see that often from Ekholm. Steady defensive presence with the Nashville Predators and the Edmonton Oilers. This one went over his head. He has it. Fanned it the first time around. Rodrigues on the whole near corner. Does he have another one here? Pinballs around through the crease. Barkov got tied up by Ekholm. Split it over. Far side and on for Nugent-Hopkins, who one-hands it into the zone. Can't do so for much as Sam Reinhart took it up. Bouncing puck over to Zach Hyman. And out for Ekblad. Shoved away by the Nuge. This goes back onto Florida. Ekblad led the way one-on-one. This is Barkov. Fired it out with Skinner. Sasha Barkov gets his own puck back. Move to the far side. This lands onto where's Tkachuk. He's onto the ice. Tkachuk right behind that. Pursued by McDavid. McDavid spun him up. Bouncing this one around over to the far side. Bennett held it in. Walk shot at the point. That was Brodeur. Deflected out. 6:40 gone. Third period. Evan Rodrigues. Fifth goal in the playoffs.
I can't shake the feeling, and I'm not going to put words in your mouth. These are just my thoughts. But I can't shake the feeling that maybe at some point Matthew Tkachuk in this series is going to be due. That also tells you how good the Florida Panthers are, because we went to it last year and see him scoring nothing but game-winning goals, critical goals, and now the Panthers, as Tkachuk still played well, no doubt about it. They haven't even needed him to do any of that stuff, and they're still up in this game.
If you think this is wild, he doesn't even have a point in the final yet.
That's so hard to believe, because I mean, like, there's times when we watch him on the ice, Alec, right, that he's
definitely providing hits. He's doing a great job keeping the puck around and making the right play. Eventually, I think it's going to work out for him.
And will work out for it eventually, knowing that his teammates are doing all the heavy lifting. Last year, it was him leading the way for the Panthers onto the Stanley Cup final. This year, he's taking the back seat.
And I guess maybe that is also what you can say, but this is why we also tie in Jason Tatum and Matthew Tkachuk. At the Boston Celtics, it's not just Tatum, it's not just Brown. You got Holiday, Horford, White, Kristaps Porzingis. Well, for the Florida Panthers, you got Barkov, Verhaeghe, Reinhart, Bennett, Rodrigues, Lindell. The list goes on and on. Good teams have help.
That is true. But Bill, on one end, I should say Jason Tatum has a healthy knee. So does Matthew Tkachuk. Though the main difference here is that Tkachuk should be happy that NHL Twitter isn't as toxic because they're saying that Tatum is the NBA Brock Purdy, which I find it as a...
Oh, boy. Come on. Let's leave.
Disrespect.
He's a superstar.
He is. That's disrespectful.
Yeah, Twitter is a very vile place. At least, as you said, for hockey, most likely, most of the time, hockey players and everybody else get the benefit of the doubt. I'm glad they do because it's a team sport.
It is a team sport. So is basketball. Tatum knows it. Tkachuk knows it. It's not an individual sport like what these basketball fans are making it out to be. Stop the ridiculousness.
Face-off win here for Florida.
It is Kevin Stanley. He took it. Right point. Dmitry Kulikov. Long shot. The puck it up high. Over the net. Henry tried to clear. Florida holds it for just a moment. Bennett can't get a stick on it. Is Kane tapping it forward. Right around this goes. Moved up. Brett Kulak. He might have got it held on his stick. Grilla Broberg has it again. Regular season and playoffs, the Panthers have the best goal differential in the third period. Plus 36 regular season, plus 15 playoffs. At the left point, held in by the Panthers, settled down by Florida, they clear. It is Kyle Poso. Spins around. He wanted to come to Florida at the trade deadline. The Buffalo Sabres grant his wish. Matthew Tkachuk was on the prowl right behind the net on Stuart Skinner. Aaron Ekblad onto the puncher was Tkachuk. Right lefty Barkov was. But that was settled wide. The Panthers are more than doubling the Oilers in shots 25-12. The Oilers need to find a way to get on the counter here and fast. They did so for the early part, but they usually do so on a more consistent basis. Getting hurried up with what I believe was Leon Draisaitl by Aaron Ekblad. Perfectly played. Then sent along to the opposite side with Davis back on. The double shifting as mentioned, and Bennett out there. Agitating. Rodrigues intercepted by Hyman. Here's McDavid. He'll send it across over to the outside. Nugent-Hopkins held up. Bobrovsky leads it on behind. And set up front over to Bennett. Bennett rid of the puck. Forsling there to help him out. Gustav Forsling over the heads of everyone. This bounce over to the Oilers zone. Will this be an icing? Yes, it will be. Chance here for the Oilers.
That was dangerous. Just basically off that backhand. Bled right through the goal mouth off a turnover. They're showing a knuckle puck there for Ekblad. Good save for Skinner. Honestly, I feel bad for Stuart Skinner in this series. I don't think he's the reason his team could be down 2-0.
No, he's playing his best hockey here tonight, and it still isn't enough. Because no matter what the Oilers are throwing at the Panthers, it feels like the Panthers have the upper hand on anything. And though I do want to get onto some chances, Evan Bouchard fires from a deep. That one blocked out. Friendly fire from McDavid as he tries to go back. I feel like the USA chants are a bit funny to me. It's loose in the front. And Bobrovsky turns them away. The USA chants are a bit funny to me, knowing that the Canadian players have made up a majority of the Oilers and the Panthers rosters. So I feel the USA chants are very funny and I think is extremely hypocritical, knowing that 2 Americans have dressed up and this Stanley Cup final, Stuart Skinner falls in it. Just 2 Americans have dressed up here in the Stanley Cup final, those being Tkachuk and Okposo. And that's not mentioning Derek Ryan, who was a healthy scratch for these first 2 games. And we're not even counting Jack Campbell because he's the first-string goaltender on the taxi squad.
Absolutely. Again, it's made the majority of all these teams just because it's a U.S. club doesn't mean you have Canadians on it. So I think that is hypocritical. And now I mentioned Bouchard earlier. I want to mention this again. He's trying to get a piece of Matthew Tkachuk. You better concentrate on the game, not Matthew Tkachuk.
Hey, don't let him get to your head. This is exactly what they call the Brad Marchand dilemma.
This is a key draw. Edmonton's got to win this defensively.
About a minute 17 away from handing it back to you is Anton Lundell on the opposite zone face-off. It is won by Edmonton. Desharnais move forward on the backhand, bouncing puck over to the border zone. Race for it will be won by the Oilers. McLeod sent it backwards over to Desharnais. Desharnais long shot. He was looking for the punch from Kane. And they get that one onto the nets. Here is Lundell. And back up. And for the first time in a while, we see Darnell Nurse onto the ice. As Sergei Bobrovsky plays this one out. Over to the far side. Oilers hold. At the front of the net, Desharnais at the near corner. Bouncing puck over to the right point. Held in by Kane. And bounces around McLeod. Trying to get it back. Here is Nurse. The long shot blocked. That point by McLeod. It was been a long time since we saw Nurse on the ice. And finally, he's getting his minutes worth of ice time. Don't know if it's injury or anything related onto the product in which he's brought on. 10:22 remains here, third period of our postal watching. We get a whole show changes.
We were cutting back into the commentary on the Twitter side, so I don't know if it cut away. So I'm going to go ahead and take this half since it was on the other side of it. This will go all the way back down the ice, and this will be blown dead. So it'll be a good time to get another stoppage. 9:53 left.
All right, check.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, we're good now.
All right. I want to get that back, knowing about what has this transpired. So I apologize for any audio comeback. I don't know if it's the Wi-Fi or anything, but nonetheless, it's been a long time since we last saw Darnell Nurse onto the ice.
Yes.
I'm not sure if there's an ailment or injury.
And again, as you said, we don't know what's going to be the case, but I understand the plus-minus situation for Darnell Nurse. I'm not trying to throw any jokes, but who realistically would you replace him for? You need him on the ice.
I don't feel there's any bit of realistic replacement for Darnell Nurse and for him.
You have to have that there for Edmonton as this gets iced again. Man, I'm the icing savant here in this. So I had a lot of that in the second. Now we're starting this in the third. But no, as you're right, Edmonton needs him on the ice. You can't afford to have those situations happen. And again, I'm just wondering, what is Edmonton going to be able to do to break through? They need Evan Bouchard. Again, he spent a lot of his time talking with Matthew Tkachuk in the recent part of it. He's got to be able to get it done. Draisaitl just 8 of 18 on draws. Now McDavid can't win this clean. And now Ekman Larson, this bounces off a stick, will still stay right here.
So it was deflected out. So no penalties winning up. 9:43 remains here in this third period. But realistically, if you're looking for someone, if they're going to go over to the defensive side, you got to have your six main defensemen on a daily basis for the Oilers. Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse, Brodeur, Kulak. You can alternate between CC and Desharnais. Those are the 7 defensemen I would have it at. Because the others, they're basically fill-ins.
And Troy Stetcher is injured, correct?
Yeah, Troy Stetcher is the only other injury of note between him and Evander Kane. The ankle injury has been holding him back as a checking cap-friendly, which unfortunately will go dark after the draft because it has been reported that Ted Lansis and the Washington Capitals have purchased it.
Are they going to use cap-friendly to make sure that their own cap situation is up to snuff?
Well, I don't know what's the plan for them, but it feels like they don't want us to see the Tom Wilson contract at all.
Oh, boy. Again, hopefully that means another one of those, whether it's like Puckpedia or all those other sites will emerge, because it's nice. Honestly, Alec, I know you've done a lot of work writing and doing all the games across like I have. It's nice to be able to use that as a resource to get information.
Yeah, perhaps some improvements for Puckpedia down for the line later on, knowing that Puckpedia will be the main source once Cap Friendly gets purchased by the Caps, once it's official.
You and I need to get I don't care if it's cryptocurrency or whatever else, we need to get a stake in all that, because I want to make sure sites like that, or maybe Sport Track or some of the stuff in the NBA, anything that provides cap, anything across these major sports league, I want to keep all of them operating and open because I use them all.
Yeah, but most hockey fans and even draft analysts, scouts, and even front offices, they use cap-friendly on a daily basis. That the fact that the Capitals are taking this and purchasing it, it feels like they're trying to use it to their advantage. I don't know why, for some reason.
So hopefully we get more clarification on that. That was everything. Glad you brought it up. I don't think Gary Bettman even talked about it on that side. They asked him a lot about everything else as far as the cap going up. We know that. Draisaitl finishes his hit. He gets a hit stick up high, and that's going to be called. Draisaitl absolutely hit Barkov hard with the shaft of the stick, and now Florida is going to be incensed.
Oh, my. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I know the pussy exception didn't come around, but I know they're going to take exception to all of that. Draisaitl made the obvious case of going to the box. That and his bounty business cannot be denied. They're checking on Barkov for blood. If this is going to be 4 or 2 on a high stick, let's see the replay. Yeah, he got hit up high. Yeah, the hands are in the face. I don't know if it's a high stick. Let's see again the replay. Was it an elbow, rather?
Was it an elbow? Because you can honestly say they don't let you leave your feet. Excuse me. And Draisaitl got it pretty high to kiss him right with an elbow. I mean that looked kind of dirty to me, to be honest.
But I mean, what the heck was that? Completely uncalled for by Draisaitl. Seriously.
Yeah, and exactly. I mean, you have. It looks like Barkov's okay. Hopefully, he doesn't have to go in any sort of concussion protocol. Barkov's as tough as they come anyway. He's a big boy. But for Draisaitl, I don't like that. For Evan Bouchard, some of the stuff with Tkachuk trying to jawing is fine. But if you do that kind of stuff on the other end as you're one of the mainstays with McDavid, that's not good. And you're also waking up a sleeping giant. Oh, by the way, could be up 2-0 in this series.
And you do not want that anytime. Barkov, he's getting a look at his teammates. They're getting together to determine if Draisaitl get 5 or 2, but you leave your feet and then you get an elbow up high on Barkov. That's going to go straight onto the Department of Player Safety.
They're only giving him a minor for roughing, so I think that is, I'm not going to say benefit of the doubt. It's definitely a penalty. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just surprised that Draisaitl wouldn't be more composed in the moment. I can't say that he made any other attempt because he left his feet on that latest replay, and he was determined to finish his hit.
And they're going to say, too, because it's on the basis that Barkov is okay and ready to go afterwards, but you can't leave your feet like that. But if Barkov is laying down motionless and he can't go for the rest of the way, you would think that they'll be fine. But because Barkov's ready to go, I think the officials are going to say 2 minutes on that. So I think they may have gotten the call right from a surgeon point of view.
Yeah. And again, for Kris Knoblauch, I mean, he's looking on and saying, okay, he doesn't have much to say about it. I don't think he would either way, but he did look displeased. He might be more displeased with Draisaitl more than anything. So 0 for 4 with 3 shots. How many times is this going to continue to happen for the Oilers? Will they finally concede one? They don't even need to score anymore as we're finally halfway through this third. Again, I feel like I've had the play-by-play for about 20 minutes, but we haven't had any action with all these whistles. Verhaeghe, this one gets blocked, and this will be sent back down. I finally get a chance to get my feet wet again as Bobrovsky will slow it down. 34 straight, 52 of 55, 94.5%. This is absolutely ridiculous. Bennett, full flight. Now drop for Verhaeghe near the right circle. He went near the high left post. This one went wide, all the way back down to Brandon Montour. If Florida scores again, this could essentially be done. When are Edmonton going to be able to answer in the third period? That's not their strong suit anyway. It's always lock and key for Florida in this third. Tkachuk, retrieval, Montour, wrister. This one is blocked. Now toward the right side. Edmonton desperate to get it out. Ekholm will chip it. This will go all the way back down. And Bobrovsky will watch. Off the back skate is Brandon Montour. 45 seconds left to go, and yet another power play for Florida. Evan Rodrigues. He would be in line for the GWG if it holds. Try to get his own retrieval. As this is near the right side, Ekblad off the pin. Rodrigues to Lindell. Ekman-Larsson wrister wide. Rodrigues will get it back. This power play second line has been the best one for Florida. Lindell. Here's a shovel, but to nobody.
20 seconds left to go on the Florida power play. A wheel's got it. Number 91 will spin. Everybody else will change for Kris Knoblauch's squad. Paul Maurice's wants to get another goal. Lindell, rushed near the left wing, takes a hit, stays on his feet. It's tipped by Rodrigues. He scores.
He's got two. How about that? The guy we follow get the next goal for them at the beginning of the period. He's got two already. That's 3 goals in the finals for him thus far. How much he has grown.
Well, since we called his name twice, I guess he had to score 2 goals.
Yeah, we called his name in twice again. He's been perhaps the best player in the finals thus far. If the cost might were to be based off the Stanley Cup final only, I feel Rodrigues may be a front runner for it. Because it is the entire playoffs, feel Rodrigues etching his name, or the streak ends here. 34 straight penalties killed. Well, it had to end some point, but nonetheless, it may be in the even numbers.
I think we said that right too. If it was going to end, it was going to end early. That's what we said from game 1. It took him to game 2, and that is a boneheaded penalty, I will say it, from Draisaitl. And that tip, yes, it was open, but Evan Rodrigues, I mean, he was all alone, unaccounted for. Easy tip deflection. Again, Stuart Skinner, what are you going to do there? 51-0-3 when leading by 2+ goals. And Edmonton is in big-time trouble. Slap shot. This is going to end the play from Ekholm and took the mask off of Bobrovsky as the fans are at their feet.
Oh, I know the minions, they may be shouting, King Bob! If you remember this, he represents Overmount. The fans on their feet, hyped up for the hot rod. He's got 2 as Matthias Ekholm takes off the mask of Sergei Bobrovsky. He's looking for 2 here, but the Oilers, they're in trouble. I'm not sure if this is related to the Corey Perry curse, but if he does lose 4 Stanley Cup finals in a span of 5 years, I have no words for him.
No, you don't. There's nothing you can say. Sometimes the stats are just odd. We can say this now. If Matthias Ekholm is the best offensive player on the ice in this game, game 2 for the Edmonton Oilers, they're in trouble. Problem is, Matthias Ekholm has been the best offensive player on the ice for Edmonton, as he had a chance to score again, but it dislodged the mask of Sergei Bobrovsky. 2 goals, 2 shots, 15 minutes of ice time for Evan Rodrigues. This stopped by Bobrovsky, and we will get some pushing and shoving, and now Stanley, they'll get a piece of Kulak. Edmonton wants to go after the Panthers right now, as now we're seeing Evander Kane mixed up. I was waiting for this. He's tied up with Brandon Montour. This is not what you want to do if you're Edmonton. You're not going to win the series this way. All you're going to do is going to get you a quick golf bag in the offseason.
No, it's going to lead you to the quick golf bag of a route. Do not get losing your cool. You do not want that. You do not want to get your opposition the strings. You do not want them to punch you right in the face and have them play your game, because all throughout the Oilers, they lost despite outshooting the Panthers in game 1. Now they're losing because they're leaving Stuart Skinner out to dry all in this game. Despite the quick start in the first period, well, the Panthers said, we got you right where we want you.
Absolutely, Alec. Again, on Sportsmanlike, it's going to be the call. We'll get the mix of everything else. You got Evander Kane and Montour in the box. And I agree with you. I was willing to give the benefit of the doubt to the Edmonton Oilers in the first period, even though they had to face up against a lot of chances, and it helped that they had the lead. But they stayed away from all the other physicality. The hits from game 1, that was outstanding, but I'm talking about the unnecessary, the dumb penalties, going after with some of the punches and all that. You're just breathing life from the Florida Panthers. So I don't know if this is going to continue. Again, you'll go back home. No shots attempted this series. Wow, no shots attempted this series for Evander Kane. But you can go back home down 0-2. And I think the best thing Edmonton can hope for, is winning 2 games. I don't think that's going to happen. This is a critical 4-on-4. Bouchard, one-timer. And this is a left pad save by Bobrovsky. And now that third line,
part of it with Anton Lundell is back on the ice, and they have been so good. As it's 6:25 left to go in the third. This is picked up now for Reinhart. Barkov is not on the bench right now. 2 hits, 2 shots, 17:50. There's been a lot of injuries in this game, and people fight through it. There's going to be a lot of off days, though. Hopefully Barkov is okay. He's probably getting checked out for anything else with a hit toward the head. Forsling. Tkachuk, I want to see him score this. Tkachuk off the outside of the cage. It bounced off of Skinner. It's a break for McDavid. McDavid trying to go 5-hole. This net gets dislodged. And now Tkachuk and McDavid are tied up.
Here we go for what we can see. Tkachuk, McDavid all tied up. Oh my goodness, with McDavid trying to get one back to put the Oilers on his back, stay alive in this. A big save by Bobrovsky to have this knot up 3-1 still. And what we discussed, high side. You need to go high side more and more. And Kentucky was tying him up. They say, you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And Tkachuk, while he's not the best player on the ice along both sides, he has the best team around him.
And Tkachuk, honestly, Alec, I think you can agree with me on this. Maybe he could have got a penalty there for a hook on Connor McDavid, but 100% effort there for Matthew Tkachuk, correct?
And 100% effort.
That was a pretty good back check there because it's really hard to stay in front of Connor McDavid. Again, we can say that, but until you actually deal with it. Evan Rodrigues with a pair of goals. Nobody's happier than that young man, and a couple of broadcasters here are happy in the booth. 2-goal lead for Florida, 5:53 left. We go to break.
Rodrigues bringing the house down. 2 goals in the third period. He's showing up clutch. I know for as good as Rodrigues has been, and with Tkachuk getting the help all around him, Verhaeghe and Jason Tatum, they're living their best lives right now.
Yes, they are. If you want to live in a certain role, kind of even like Drew Holiday, you do it that way. If you're Evan Rodrigues, fit in, do what you can to be able to get the job done. Now, we talked about some of the giveaways. 17-16. There's been a lot of that, but Edmonton leads. You don't want to lead there. Takeaways. This is embodiment of Florida here. This number is really percolated in this period. 11-3 Cats dominating the third period once again. There is not a team in the league so far that have been able to figure out the Florida Panthers when the game gets tight.
Bill, the Panthers, they're playing lock and key third period. They're hungry for the Stanley Cup. A 2-0 series we put play huge dividends. Since we fought the Oilers, they may have this one in the bag. Unfortunately, several shots hitting the post. That was perhaps the backbreaker for them with Evan Bouchard coming close.
And I know we'll talk a little bit in the post-game side. If you do have to bounce out a little bit earlier, no problem with that side. But I do want to get a couple of thoughts with you when we get to that. It certainly looks like the Florida Panthers are going to take a 2-0 series lead. I don't want to hope for a short series, but you and I gave Edmonton the benefit of the doubt and said 6-game series because of the way that they played against Dallas, the way that they fought through 6 one-goal games against the Canucks to win it in 7. They've shown us a lot of things right now. Question is, are they going to be able to show more? Because Florida is pretty much just as good in all of those same areas.
Yeah, they have.
So we're looking at Stuart Skinner on the bench. 5:53 left to go in the third. Face-off win by Florida. All-out stops. Luostarinen gets this one back down the ice. And now Evan Bouchard. A 4-on-4, technically 5-on-4, as Kris Knoblauch point out all the stops. It's McDavid. He needs one. Here's a loft to Draisaitl. Draisaitl now. Near the right point, Bouchard. Draisaitl doesn't shoot the 1T. Now near the right dot. It's Connor, number 97. Extra to Draisaitl, saved by Bobrovsky with the right pad. 4-on-4 for 28 seconds. Empty netter, Luostarinen. This one goes wide. Picked up now for Edmonton. Again, that was way over the line.
Luostarinen. It'd be fitting if he scored yet another empty netter. That would be back-to-back in 2 games. As Hyman now around the inboards here. Henrique, he's trying to get some time. This one, trying to see if it goes up and over the glass, deflected. We get a stoppage, 4:54 in the third.
Are the Oilers saying that this was sent out of play?
I think we are gonna get a delay of game penalty against Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Well, now's your time, Oilers.
So 4-on-3 for 8 seconds. Now you can essentially get a 5-on-3 here. This is the time. Again, they went for the net pull immediately, pulling out all the stops here because it's either 1-1 or 2-0. And it looks like, yeah, it's unabated, and this goes over the glass. This feels more like a World Juniors type of game, considering how many times that it's gone over the glass here and got the amount of stoppages. They will put Stuart Skinner back into the goal crease just in case the faceoff isn't won. Montour and Ekman-Larsson going to share some seat on the bench, but it's going to run out of room here if they get any more. And now Stuart Skinner getting more clarification in between the bench to see what they want to do. 4:54 left.
Oh, he's trying to figure out the message from Kris Knoblauch. He don't even know what the message is between him and Knoblauch. Oh, now he's going to come on. So it's an empty net, so essentially it's going to be a 5-on-3 turn into a 6-on-4.
Stanley, he can't win it. Bouchard, fake the clapper. It's McDavid. RNH, pass across Hyman. He can't give him the tap in. As McDavid. This gets sticked away. Florida able to find it. Bouchard stuck on his back skate. 4:30 left to go in this third period. Draisaitl. Send this back and around the inboards. Now recollected. RNH. It's turned over. Florida able to fire this. Bouncing puck. Edmonton's power play. 1:25 from the OEL. Delay of game. They're down by 2. It's 3-1. Evan Rodrigues with a pair of goals. McDavid now. RNH. Florida slams this around the kick plate. This is kept in by Draisaitl. Warbling puck. All sorts of contact. RNH able to keep it alive. He pretty much built like a nose tackle. This is McDavid. Bouchard crisscross off the boards. McDavid now for RNH. He's near the left circle. Bouchard. When can they activate? McDavid. Extra pass. Bouchard. Doesn't shoot. Leaves for RNH. He missed the net. Draisaitl now. Bouchard. This is McDavid. Left circle. McDavid in behind the cage. Good diving shot block there for Florida. And this one will go off a stick this time. 3:30 left in the third.
So far, the Panthers are forcing the Oilers over to the outside. I know the Panthers, they may be winning this, but the excess of penalties, not a lot of discipline here in game 2 for either side.
No, it's not. And again, I think Florida can afford to get away with that more than Edmonton can with the amount of personnel on the ice, the way all 4 lines are rolled out. Bouchard's saying, hey, I want a timeout. He's already called this 10 times in front of the camera. I think he's finally going to get his wish. So they're going to rest the main troops here. The crowd emerges to their feet and waves the towels. But if they don't score here, maybe within the next minute, Alec, this might be the end of the road here in game 2.
It might be. Because if the Oilers, they don't wake up, this may be over. And Kris Knoblauch, he's going to use his timeout here with 3:30 left to go. Bold choice.
So he had the net pull with about 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Now it's 3:30, and honestly, I've had this play-by-play call longer than Alec has, even though he's got his amount of time. I've just had all the stoppages and the timeouts and everything else mixed in between it. Won't matter, though, for Florida. They played a pretty good start to this game. They finally got rewarded. Evan Rodrigues turned on the heroics. No matter which way you look at it, all the feel-good thoughts for Edmonton are 3:30 away, especially from game 1, but 3:30 away now from game 2 from going right out the window.
It feels the Oilers using their last 11 playoff games with Draisaitl does not have a point. That feels very weak if they were to not have him get a point and record one, because they needed to get on the board here. Even on this power play, have double shift him.
Draisaitl missed it from Bouchard. Picked up by McDavid. Back to Evan. Now to Connor. Connor, stutter step. Great move to beat the defense. Toe drag. This one is a long flip. This is not going to hit the goal crease. This will go all the way back down to Bouchard. Good work there for Stanley, as this is an opportunity for Bouchard off the spin and turn. 5 seconds left to go in Edmonton's power play. McDavid finds the entry rather easily. Full strength. It's now 6-on-5. Tkachuk trying to keep it to the outside, but Bobrovsky hasn't had to be a hero. Tkachuk, I don't know how they didn't get a tripping call there. Still able to get this one down the ice was Matthew, falling down making a play, but he was definitely bothered. This one's sent in. Forsling can't find it. Bennett finishes his hit, gets it out across the blue line, fire to the empty net, and scores! Matthew Tkachuk!
There it is. The empty netter, and which Panthers fans have been going with. They wanted to see that to take a 2-0 seriously. Here come the Raps. That's basically all she wrote.
That's got to feel good for Matthew. He made a great play to be able to clear that one down the ice. Edmonton Oilers, I can tell you this alongside Alec. We'll talk a little bit in the post game. You could talk about going back into the drawing board. Well, we mentioned game 2, a little bit of a correction here for Florida as far as pushing their pace and their game style and limiting shots. If I'm Edmonton, I don't feel very good even going back home, because I thought this was one where you want to make sure you get that result. You had a lot of good feelings. You did a lot of things right in game 1. You did not do a lot of things right in game 2. They're giving this one to Aaron Ekblad.
Well, I thought it was Ekblad at first as the camera was showing him. First goal to playoffs for him. It's a long time coming, but empty net goal, good start if you're going to get on the score goal sheet. I thought it was Tkachuk at first as well.
So Bobrovsky, he gets that camera shot regardless. Bobrovsky hasn't had to be big, but still 17 of 18. I'm thankful for him because he was a machine in the last one. Stuart Skinner, again, 3 against him, 23 of 26, but I won't blame Stuart Skinner for the first couple of games. I just don't know now, and this is where the narrative is going to come full circle. What answer is Edmonton going to have? Because I think, again, the only thing they can hope to do at home, you want to win both. I think the only thing they can hope to do is split, because you couldn't play much better in game 1. You kind of got dominated a little bit in game 2, and the team that actually dominated won this time, and that's not what Edmonton needs. This one's sent in. Edmonton's got to score here pretty much in the next 30 seconds if they want to make this something. Sam Carrick gets blown up by Kulikov, and now Lindell will flip this one. I think there's going to be a penalty here as Carrick got absolutely smoked. He wants a piece of Dimitri here. And Edmonton, again, they want to fight more than score. That's not the message you want. And now he hit Steven Lorentz in the face with the stick for no reason.
Oh, he should be penalized and ejected for the rest of this game just for that whack to the stick on Lorentz alone. I know for a fact that he got ran over by Kulikov, but that's losing your temper. I feel he should be gone for the rest of this game for that moment.
So Kulikov blows up Carrick, and I think Vincent Desharnais got the stick right in the face. Carrick got a little bit of a spear. Didn't like that on the other side. So Kulikov, that's a clean hit. I thought Desharnais came back over and got a piece of Kulikov right in the face after he got speared by Carrick. This is not very good for Edmonton right now. There is nothing positive I can say about what they're doing on the ice.
Nothing at all. You got badly outplayed, after you lost game 1, despite outshooting them, you got dominated, you got smoked, and you're essentially giving the Panthers even one last crack at it on this man advantage.
So again, that'll be something that we lead into game 3, Alec. I'm not going to say short series just yet, but this is kind of a sneak preview, is it not, my friend? I mean, if Edmonton's losing their cool like this, and they bring half of this maybe into game 3, as I look at Connor McDavid's face, that says it all.
Well, that look says it all. No matter how the Oilers finish this series, I feel the Oilers, they look back at this with pride, knowing that this is that they got here with Connor McDavid. gravity
Sure.
and feel they gave the Oilers the rope.
Here's a wrister. Picked up now for Stanley. It's kind of the garbage time here, but the Florida Panthers are going to enjoy this. Steven Lorentz, it's turned over, and Lorentz will fire this one high near the right side of the glass. Picked up now for Florida. They have broken Edmonton's penalty kill streak. They're up by 3. Maybe they're breaking their hearts in the process. Lorentz, he was trying to skate in between his legs. Stenlund now for OEL. It's Kevin. He gets flipped it off the puck. OEL settles it down. Mikkola, why not? Tip down in front. Good save, Skinner. Luostarinen, he falls down on his backside. 1 second difference in between the game clock and the power play. It's essentially going all the way. And we want the cup chance at Amerant Bank Arena. Florida's already done something they've never done before, taking a 2-0 series lead in a quest for a first ever Stanley Cup. And they have been the gold standard. Tarasenko flips over his stick, and this has got to feel good. We mentioned this for Vegas a lot last year when they're pretty much able to take a third period into Game 5 and stand the whole time and cheer because that game was done. Well, they've been able to pretty much stand the whole time and cheer here in this third period. As this is down the last 30 seconds. Golikov, he's able to watch as Edmonton gets in the zone. Lindell knocks it away. 20 seconds left to go in the third. Shot differential was not that big this time, but 28-19 as the clock has stopped for a moment, but we're still underway. Okposo circles back, and Edmonton waves the white towel. The Florida Panthers take a 2-0 series lead as the Rats rain down. They win this one 4-1, and now the narrative changes completely. Edmonton played excellently in Game 1, lost 3-0. This time they still lose by 3 goals. They get destroyed. They're down 2. Their only chance now is to lick their wounds and go home. But how long is this series going to go?
Oh, who knows? I may give it 6 games. If Edmonton has no answers for this Florida attack, we may see, for the first time ever, a champion winning, a team winning the Stanley Cup the year after they lost in the final in the year prior, joining the 84 Edmonton Oilers and the 09 Pittsburgh Penguins in that category. The 2024 Panthers could be up to something. The Oilers, if they don't make their changes now, then we will not have a chance to see them win a Stanley Cup and join the 09 Penguins and the 2011 Bruins in winning the Stanley Cup after falling down 2-0 in the final.
I don't want to say that Edmonton never had a chance in this series, because I would have told you that against Dallas if Dallas would have done their job. Dallas Stars were here, and Edmonton ended up taking care of business. But you cannot make the mistakes that you didn't make in Game 1 when you lost 3-0. Now you compounded and put salt in the wound by taking careless penalties, by turning the puck over, by starting to get frustrated because Florida put you in Pandora's box and you couldn't find a way to solve it. You have to take everything that you did in Game 1, bring that into Game 3. You cannot take everything you did in Game 2 and bring it into Game 3, because if you do that, the Oilers are dead in the water.
They are. If you keep making these mental mistakes, it starts with the fundamentals. You have to do the simplest of plays. If you can't do that, you're going to get pounced on every single time. They're going to take advantage of you. It doesn't matter who's out there onto the ice. They will take advantage of your looks as Sergei Bobrovsky hands off his stick over to the fence. I would think that Evan Rodrigues gets first star honors this time around.
We're going to stay here with you, at least for that part of it, as I want to look and see it. Again, I appreciate everyone that joined in between the Twitter space, the YouTube side, and the Twitch side. Is Anton Lundell. I like that he was mentioned as well. So you get Evan Rodrigues, Anton Lundell, and Sergei Bobrovsky as your stars, most likely, even though Evan Rodrigues hasn't been introduced yet. We know he's got to be the first star, as this one will be a bunch of rats and everybody happy here. I mean, look, you can talk about it as we did. Alec, Florida did not play their best game in game one. We knew that they were going to have this push here in game two. My only concern was Edmonton was not ready for it.
They were not. I feel, if I'm quoting Jared Allen for the Cavaliers, it felt like when the Oilers, no problems in the first 3 rounds. So they had to overcome some adversity in rounds 2 and 3. But in the moment that they're getting into the final, it feels like the lights were brighter than expected for the Oilers. It felt like that. In game one, you played your best game. In game two, you got punched in the mouth repeatedly after you scored the first goal of the game, and you tried to play a style which the Panthers were doing. That's not going to work.
No, and again, I'm glad you said it that way because we talked about it. Florida forces teams to do that. I do think Edmonton, as you mentioned, probably laid into that a little bit too much. That's not going to work for them. Luckily for them, and maybe for all of us, maybe a mental reset. That's what Edmonton needs more than anything. Game 3, Thursday night, again, about an 8:10 start. We will see you for that. I have my reservations, and I will hold when we lay that into game 3. But I am fundamentally worried for the Edmonton Oilers now because the Florida Panthers, they look good, and they only need to look good for a couple more games. Alec, thank you for joining me for this one. I will see you at worst on Thursday.
See you around.
This is a big time win, 4-1 again. Florida takes it, a 2-0 series lead against the Edmonton Oilers. Maybe you could say I should have known better. I tried to give Edmonton the benefit of the doubt, even though I still took Florida in 6. Try to give them the benefit of the doubt after what they did against the Stars. They play another game like this at Rogers on Thursday. This is going to be a short series. It's going to be even shorter than 6. So the kid with the flexes, he called the 3-0. Alec got pretty close to the scoreline today. Florida up a commanding 2-0 series lead, and Edmonton's game is going to have to look a whole hell of a lot different. Or by the time that Cooper Hopkins joins Alec Nava and I on Saturday, he might be calling a Stanley Cup final if it goes to a 3-0 series lead by the time after Thursday. As it stands, 2-0. It was a 3-0 victory for Florida in game 1, a 4-1 victory for Florida in game 2, both games by a 3-goal differential. This one was utterly dominant for Florida. They looked more like Florida, and Edmonton looked like the team that wanted to fight back with more physicality. Can't do it that way. We'll see what happens on Thursday night. You guys, you take care. If you're sleeping well in sunrise, I imagine, because you got to feel good. You're right in front of the driver's seat. Talk soon. Peace.